I'm loose.
What's up, everybody? Welcome, neighbors. We are here. It is in howdy. It is March 16th today of 25, and it's been a pretty good Sunday. The weather is fucking perfect. I rolled around in the backyard with my kids all morning long, and we got so fucking dirty and covered in pollen. It was incredible.
Might explain why my allergies are acting up being around you. It's kind of inconsiderate, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed your fun time with your children. But
Yeah,
now my nose hurts.
I don't give a shit. Did you turn the volume down? I can't hear anything.
Oh, man, that's on yours. I was trying to do mine.
So, yeah, a good friend of mine, ex-coworker, lives down the street. Randomly, single guy, lives in a halfway, calls me up and he's like, hey, man, I got a deal. I need to use your shop vac and your driveway. I want to clean my car, and I'll do your yard in return.
Sounds like a fair barter.
Well, yeah, I mean, to a normal person. But at first I was like, you're not taking my yard work away from me. That's like my favorite fucking thing to do. But
yeah, agreed.
I never have time to do it, and it's the beginning of the season and all that. So it worked out really well, and instead I just played with the kids, which is probably something I should be doing anyway. And it went pretty well, man. It was a nice morning. And then I woke up excited about this. I woke up excited to talk about Barry Lyndon.
Nice, dude. I was reminiscing about how when I used to do yard work when I was secretly drinking, it would take me like 2 hours to mow the lawn because I would just go keep fucking slamming tequila in between every little bit that I mowed.
Yeah.
Or like going in and updating my girlfriend, being like, this is taking a long time or whatever. Just getting away from her for 2 hours, you know?
Do you find yourself drinking coffee the same way that
Yes.
you used to drink alcohol?
Yes,
like,
or Diet Coke.
I'll like keep it in a cut somewhere that's just mine, you know, and then like be tasking, and then every 20-30 minutes go and just take a fucking rip on the like super
Sneak it,
yeah, almost being sneaky. And like just trying to keep the effects of it lasting as long as it possibly can.
Yeah, I have to have, I've realized, some sort of secret stinky habit of consumption. That's me eating the garlic was like that.
Some
Coffee,
sort of
obviously,
resistance.
Booze, yeah.
Yeah, some sort of like, you know, something to mix things up a little bit. Want to keep things interesting.
For sure.
Can't just fucking live my life, dude. It's got to be weird. For sure.
And you know who lived a weird life?
Who's that?
Barry Lyndon.
Yeah, he did. How many times he got shot?
How many N-words you shot? Yeah. For those who haven't seen it, there's an incredible edit of
How much money you got? A lot.
I don't know much about 21, but
21.
I do enjoy saying
He's
his
British.
name. 21 was that? Was British?
Yeah, dude. He got like deported to England because they found out he was an illegal immigrant from the UK.
Seriously?
Yes.
Does he have like an accent and everything? No.
He did talk like he's from Atlanta, but I think he grew up in Atlanta, but they found out that he was an illegal immigrant. You know who they are.
Oh, the 2025s, dude?
No, this was like two or 3 years ago. It was Biden,
wow.
low-key Biden targeted 20 savage. And Trump freed Kodak Black, so who's really on the side of our working class black Americans?
Who is our real urban fucking champion president?
And Lil Wayne, he commuted Lil Wayne's sentence, but...
Oh, look, I put even a little star, but we're going to ignore that because... so Barry Lyndon came out in 75, so it was 4 years after Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
It was Kubrick's next movie after Clockwork Orange. The fucking polar opposite venture.
In a lot of ways, yeah. He
Yeah.
hit him with the freaky ass shit. And then he was like, I'm going to make like a period sort of drama, which to me, we'll get into it, but it's a comedy to me.
Yeah.
It's a funny ass movie.
Well, I feel like by the mid 70s, being like shocking had become sort of like run of the mill and old hat and boring, and it wasn't like avant garde anymore.
Yes.
So he was constantly trying to stay ahead of the trend, ahead of the moment.
Yeah.
So he released this insanely fucking long, insanely slow moving. The story itself, I would give, is very interesting. Lots of cult. It's very Iliad or Homer. You know, it's like
It's based on a book.
Yeah, a lot of crazy big shit. Yeah, the guy wrote Vanity Fair too.
For sure.
What's his name? Peacemaker or something.
William Thackeray Makepeace.
Makepeace, yes.
Fucking sick name, dude.
That is a British name. And he wrote satire.
My name would be William Stackery because I stack money, make war,
Make war.
make
okay.
love. William Stackery, make love.
I wouldn't mind be stack butts.
But yeah,
Make
I think
babies.
Also, the success of Clockwork Orange gave him free range to kind of blow the fucking bank on this movie. It had a very high budget for the time, and he shot it almost entirely with natural light, which is very difficult to achieve, and it's kind of one of the things that the movie is famed for. It's the urban legend is that it's all natural light. It's not, but it's mostly natural light and candlelight.
There's another movie like that, recent.
I can't think of
Revenant.
The Revenant is all natural light. I didn't know, but
there's one scene that isn't. There's one scene, I think it's a nighttime scene where he's eating I think it's the one where he's eating the liver or something like that. But yeah, generally like 98% of the movie.
Yeah, that was a real bear too that he fought.
Yeah. Razor sharp claws and everything.
Yeah, dude, he's got fucked up by that bear.
That's pretty fucked up. Are you being serious?
It's not a real bear.
That would be.
It'd be baller, dude. Because there's the famous anecdote about Leo, how he like actually cut his hand while they were shooting Django, and he was like, I'm gonna keep going with this scene. Him actually fighting.
Yeah, I never thought that was so impressive. I feel like he got lucky. I feel like that cut would drive anybody who was standing in between Quentin Tarantino and Jamie Foxx and gets cut on the hand.
You're not gonna be like, ow, shit. Stop the camera.
Yeah, dude. Jesus fucking Christ, you know? Like, I don't know.
Quentin, it hurts really bad.
I think as a leading man, and not to follow too many tangents, Leo's a fucking motherfucker, dude.
He's so good.
As a human, he's probably pretty douchey.
I've heard that he, when he has sex, he wears headphones and listens to music, and the girl's not allowed to talk to him. And also, he only dates women under the age of 25.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I don't mean.
Respect, bro.
Yeah, but as long as it's above legal age, whatever, dude.
He's well within his rights.
And it's all consensual and it's all fine. I mean, I think that whole thing, people get mad at Leo for not, it's just haters.
And it's older women being like, why don't I get that?
Especially they grew up finger
Titanic.
banging to the Titanic poster in their bedroom.
Which we should talk about that movie at some point. That's such a good fucking
movie.
movie.
that is a really good movie. And
when I was in grade school, kids would play Titanic. You would be like, I'm Jack, I'm Rose, and you'd pretend you were escaping the Titanic together. It was a cultural phenomenon.
That really was.
And I wasn't allowed to watch it at the time because it had titties in it. But then my parents had the double VHS set. And so, of course, I viewed the breasts.
Did you fucking wear down that part of the tape?
I only saw that part of the movie. There's this phenomenon with me where I'll watch a classic film and be like, I remember these 30 seconds of it because I downloaded a clip from LimeWire in 2003 of Salma Hayek's tits in Frida. Yeah. And then I'll watch Frida. I'm like, this is actually a good movie aside from the tits. This is great. Now I have the context for why her tits are out,
Yeah. Does that make them more enjoyable?
Somewhat, yeah. Halle Berry Monsters Ball. Like that, that one.
I feel like that would...
Can you make me feel good?
Yeah, I feel like that would ruin...
When you find watching that, you're like, this is hot. Why is she acting so crazy? And then it's like, oh, it's because her son was just killed in a hit and run accident, and the guy that's fucking her executed her husband. It's
and whose son shot himself in the chest.
I think it makes it more hot, low key.
It is pretty hot.
That movie's amazing.
Yeah. And then they put her boobs in that one movie, Swordfish.
She got paid $1 million for the nudity clause on that.
And it was just, she's reading a book.
Yeah.
And she drops the book.
It was the definition of gratuitous.
It was perfect.
Served no purpose.
Yeah. Other than
bam.
Woohoo! How many fucking movie theaters across the country was there applause?
For sure.
During that scene.
We should get to Barry Lyndon, but I do want to note the movie Love Lies Bleeding that came out, I think last year, has some nudity in it, and a picture went viral of a guy who had passed out in the movie. He has a bunch of fireball shooters next to him, and his flaccid dick is just out of his pants because he was at the movie trying to jack off and fell asleep. And
what movie?
It's called Love Lies Bleeding. I haven't seen it.
No.
It's got the Kristen Stewart.
Oh.
But jacking off at a mainstream movie theater is a baller move.
Yeah, he should have been drinking some bangs.
Yeah, if he was on some bangs, he would have been able to goon through the whole fucking movie, man. But let's kick it off.
Gotta goon it, dude. All right,
Barry Lyndon. The first part of the film is called How Redmond Barry Acquired the Title and Style of Barry Lyndon. We find out that his pops was supposed to be a lawyer, and he would have made an eminent figure in the field had he not been killed in a duel.
Yeah.
And duels pop up throughout this movie. What are your feelings about duels? Should we bring it back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think the commentary on duels in this movie is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
But like the idea of, I mean, if people want to be fucking idiots like that, I think it's Darwinian law, bro. Like if you want to stand 10 feet across from someone and fire and like for your pride, we probably don't need you around.
Yes.
One of you.
I agree. I looked up the rules of dueling, and once both people have fired their guns, anybody at any point can be like, all right, I've got my satisfaction. So like if you don't get killed and the other guy doesn't get killed, you can just be like, all right, we tried to kill each other, it's over. And then you just like bro hug it out, and you're like, all right, beef is squashed.
Well, what's the like rules on, nah, bro, I'm good.
Refusing a duel?
Yeah.
You could do that, but your honor would be compromised.
Okay.
You would be like not good in the hood anymore, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing, slapping somebody with a glove and demanding satisfaction, so sick. Another thing I'm thinking about how it used to be if you were dancing with a girl, a guy would come up and be like, may I cut in? And you just have to like let him dance with your girl or whatever.
Yeah.
If that happened to me today, I would up the fucking pole, dude. I'd be like, no, I demand satisfaction right now. We're dueling. You're not taking
Just for even asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for even asking.
But we see Barry's bitch. Probably, I think it's implied that she's kind of the love of his life. He doesn't have any genuine affection for anybody throughout this movie, really, except his cousin Nora Brady.
Yeah.
And our first kind of shot after his dad gets murked.
Yeah.
Is him playing cards.
On a real wide, sort of like impersonal shot.
Yeah,
too.
you don't see his dad.
They don't dig into this at all.
It's funny. You just see his dad like
puff of smoke. Yeah.
He just falls over.
Yeah, it's fucking 5 seconds long.
And then there's a zoom out of Barry playing cards with his cousin Nora and gazing lustfully at her bosom. She's got her knockers out. She's corseted up. They're kind of
can see them heave.
Playing cards. They finish playing cards and she's like, I want to play another game. She makes him turn around. And then she puts her special ribbon in between her titties. And she goes, turn around. You must find the ribbon. I've hidden it on my person. You may search however you please. And he just goes, I can't find the ribbon. And he's kind of like staring at her. He's like scared. And she's like, you haven't looked properly. And then she like shows him where the ribbon is. And she's like, you're trembling. And he's like, I'm with the joy of finding the ribbon. And she's like, liar. And then she fucking smooches him. So hot. I think it's kind of implied that they hump.
Maybe.
They do some cousin humping.
Yeah, at the very least, it's implied that what they're doing is, not
sexy.
It's sexy and it's not cool with like, it's low key.
Yeah.
They're family and they're doing the love stuff, which by today's standards, is stepsister porn. Basically, Kubrick pioneered.
This is the start of a porno, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kubrick pioneered stepsister porn.
So, along with so many other things, yes.
Yeah, so Barry Lyndon, fucking the beginning of the end.
There's a deleted scene from this movie where Nora gets stuck in a washing machine and goes like, Barry, I need help. And he starts fucking her from the back. Not really. But so then we see there's like a voiceover thing about like, oh, England is at war and they're worried about a French invasion. So
they're always at war too.
For sure.
Is what they're talking
recruiting for the army. We see this guy who's like directing the regiment and going like, right face and all this shit. He's making this goofy fucking faces. It's John Quinn. He's crushing on Nora. He does this retarded dance with Nora, which I guess was traditional for the time.
Yeah, like, well, what did you say last time? There's a ton of fop.
Yeah, he's fopping out hard. This movie has a lot of fops in it, dude.
There's this super fucking goofy looking white people just fopping hard, dude. Yeah. This whole movie just.
And Captain Quinn, I'm glad we're on video. Captain Quinn is just going like this constantly throughout the movie. But he does this dance with Nora, and then Nora and Barry walking, and he's like, did you have to dance with him 5 times? And she's like, I don't care a fig for Captain Quinn. But she says, he's a pleasant rattle of a man, which I'd like it if a babe said that about me.
Rattle.
But Barry gets pissed. He makes her walk home alone, which in those days, it's like, she was gonna get hard.
Yeah, telling a girl to walk home by herself was
basically being like,
I hope you get fucking.
I hope someone
forcefully bangs you.
Takes you behind a log.
Yeah.
And then we see him angrily chopping wood. Great trope in movies. I hope to have an opportunity to do that at some point in my life.
Chop wood in a scene?
Be pissed and chop wood. God damn it. You know?
I like it more in like a montage, like if a guy's building something, or like at the end of an A-Team episode where they're like building some trap, or whatever. Did you ever watch the A-Team?
No, man.
Okay, so the end of those shows was always this elaborate booby trap was set to catch the bad guys, right? Because it was fucking greatest show ever. And so we need wood for one of the sections to heat up the water that's gonna steam the balloon up, that's gonna drop the fucking whatever on the guys, and blah blah blah.
So then Mike Tyson is just chopping wood. Not Mike,
Mr. T.
Mr. T.
Yeah, Mr. T's chopping
Mr. Tyson. It's Mike Tyson.
Mr. T.
Completely conflated in my mind.
Mr. T is fully dressed, fully chained, fully ringed, chopping wood, dude. Yeah, that's part of it. It's fucking great.
When Barry's chopping wood, there's a great voiceover. There's so much throughout this that I relate to just as an Irish man, and I'm a lover. Okay, I love women. It's the voiceover guy goes, Barry resolved never to see Nora again, but such resolutions, steadfastly held for a whole week, often dissipate in times of great depression. So he's like, I'm done with this bitch. Then he's like, oh, I love her so much. So he rolls up on her while she's getting rizzed by Captain Quinn.
Big time.
Yeah. He's telling her, he says, I vow before the gods, my heart has never felt the soft flame. And he's basically like, you're the one for me. Nora's looking fine, dude. Those things are sitting pretty.
They're heaving.
But Barry comes up and he like grabs her and pulls her away.
Her heaving breasts.
Yes, dude, they're heaving all over the place.
Yeah. That's great.
Making me want to heave. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
But she, Barry manhandles her and pulls her aside. Captain Quinn's standing there like has fully basically been cooked by her cousin. And he realizes this because Barry gives her back the ribbon. And Captain Quinn's like, you have something best private to discuss. Would be best for me to withdraw. And Nora's like, he doesn't mean anything more to me than a parrot or a lapdog. And Captain Quinn's like, are you in the habit of giving your parrots and lapdogs your intimate items of clothing? And it's like fucking claps back at her basically, and then he runs off. And she's pissed at Barry because Captain Quinn has money. That's the underlying thing. They want Nora to get with Captain Quinn because the family's broke and Captain Quinn's got some bread.
Can we talk about how much effort we've put into the British accent?
Not much.
Well, it feels like you've got the region and the time frame down pretty well because there's so many different ones, There's the South, there's
Irish.
The North.
Well, Nora, did you have to dance with him 5 times?
Yeah, that's Lyndon, but the what's John Quinn?
John Quinn is British, yeah.
Yeah, but he's very, very foppy, and I love that British accent.
A huge part of this movie for me is also knowing that Ryan O'Neal, the actor that played Barry Lyndon, was genuinely an insane, drunk, horny Irishman. He did cocaine with his child when the kid was 11 years old.
Oh, nice.
He also...
Where'd you read this?
I read his Wikipedia. He got... So his daughter, Tatum O'Neal, they were in movies
How does
together.
that shit make it into... Okay.
He got so hammered that at his daughter's mom's funeral, he didn't recognize her, and he tried to put the Riz on her. He was hitting on his own daughter because he was too wasted and didn't recognize her.
Tatum O'Neal?
Tatum O'Neal's his daughter, yeah.
I recognize that.
She was a famous actress in her own right, but yeah.
Yeah, I recognize that.
So Ryan O'Neal is playing himself, kind of. Just this super handsome dude, can kind of like...
Yeah.
He gets babes.
I always got that feeling about Malcolm McDowell in A Clockwork Orange.
You think he's playing himself?
I feel like at that point in his life, he was a, like, sort of sociopathic, handsome, charismatic. Like, he was Alex. Maybe not ultra violent or whatever, but he was that. He just got... I think Kubrick did that. I think it looked Jack Nicholson in Shining. I mean...
Dude, I mean...
shit like that.
Kubrick... His movies always have this metatextual element to it of him fucking with the actors and doing stuff to them.
Yeah.
I can't get into it right now, but there's a theory that he made Eyes Wide Shut to split up Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise. That nice. He hated them. And so the shooting of that movie was this insanely arduous process that took like a year and a half because he made them rebuild the set of New York City in London instead of just shooting in New York. And they broke up. He broke up their marriage, basically.
Ah, man.
So he makes these insane works of art while he's also just, like, has this petty grievance that where he, like, didn't like Shelley McDowell or whatever. And,
Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall. And it's just like, all right, I'm gonna make this bitch do the scene over and over again until she goes insane. Like, he's just such a crazy fucking guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the casting of Ryan O'Neal was intentionally. He's like, this guy's a fucking lush Irish guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna have him play himself.
It sort of permeates from them the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's undeniable. The guy's
He's
personality.
so Irish.
Yeah.
And I relate to that, dude.
Hey, same.
I love
I'm not.
fucking
Yeah.
getting drunk.
Yeah.
I'm constantly lusting after babes that I can't have.
All right.
I have the revolutionary spirit.
So, yeah, they confront. So I don't know if we said in the beginning the little game that they're playing is find the ribbon in my titties.
Yes, exactly. He gives the ribbon back.
And
Captain Quinn's like.
Yeah, in this scene, he's got the ribbon now.
Captain Quinn has a ribbon too. Also.
Yeah, so the ribbon is a thing.
She's played the ribbon game with Captain Quinn also.
This
so funny, dude.
Yeah. This scene that had us gooning hard up like first beginning of the movie, we realized it's just been going on all over the place.
You love that word. You just learned the word goon. And
I thought it was a Lil Wayne lyric. I didn't realize that it had been repurposed for masturbating.
What's a goon to a goblin?
Yeah, and I think it's super appropriate for the act of masturbation I'm
specifically long-term masturbation where you lose your mind and become a slave to the porn. It's a whole thing, man.
If I don't use that word in that context 25 times this week, it will be amazing.
Yeah.
I go hard in the paint with shit like this. As soon as I get it, I fucking abuse the fuck out of it, and then I'll never say it again. But
I have a problem with these things. My tick lately has been going, that's what's up. I say that's what's up to literally everything. But
you had me on that's not chill.
That's not chill, yeah. Barry and Nora's brothers are trying to set him up with Quinn. So Quinn is like pissed off. He sees the ribbon thing go down. He's like, oh, she did the titty game with Barry too. He's mad. He goes, I'm done with your Irish ways. And he runs off. Irish ways apparently meaning incest. But then in the next scene, he's still at dinner with them. So Nora was fetching enough that he kind of overlooks this situation and he still pulls up to dinner, Captain Quinn. Yeah. But then Barry walks in. Barry is straight just glaring at Captain Quinn, and Captain Quinn's going.
Yeah, and the family's been like, yo, homie, we're trying to get fucking paid out this bitch. Yeah. We are broke. Yeah. Let our little sister fucking suck money out of this dude's penis. $1,500 a year.
Yes.
And Barry Lyndon's like, no, sir.
Yes.
That's my family and my dick suck, and I will have it.
He's so in love with her. He's supposed to be like in his teens, like late teens, early 20s. It's believable. But Uncle Brady seems to like not really know what's going on. So he proposes a toast because Captain Quinn and Nora are getting married, and Barry just stays seated and like just glowering about it. And then he stands up and he goes, "Here's my toast to Captain Quinn." Fucking throws the wine in his face. Captain Quinn's like freaking out. He's so offended or whatever. And Barry goes like, "You can come get satisfaction whenever you want." Basically challenges him to a duel. The brothers explain. They go, "The fact is, sir, the young monkey's fallen in love with Nora." Young monkey.
So he's now been referred to as a lapdog, a parrot, and a monkey.
A young monkey.
Yeah. They don't like him around here, dude.
I mean, we learned that he was like taken in by his uncle. So that's the other thing. This isn't like your cousin that you see once a year at the family barbecue. Like, they grew up together.
Yeah, but he was on the outside anyway. And
still, it's freaky as hell.
Barry don't get no love, dude.
Yeah, exactly. This is the only baby who's really spent time around.
And for Barry though, this shit is just as much about, you know, his honor. To me, it seems like he's in love and shit. He feels disrespected, and he's like, I'm a bad motherfucker. And throughout the movie, it actually becomes pretty evident that Barry Lyndon is a bad motherfucker.
He's sick, dude.
He's got physical prowess, mental prowess. He's a badass. And he's just, you know, can't wait to let everybody know. So he challenges this guy to a fucking gun shootout, dude.
He does, and he
a duel.
Escalates it by telling Captain Grogan, who's like another British soldier who like walks him home afterwards. He's like, "Tell him it's up. Yeah. I want the smoke." And Captain Grogan's like, "Are you sure you want to do this for a girl that's flinging herself at every man in these parts these 5 years past and missing them all?" She's like ordering ribbons in bulk on Amazon. She's like doing the ribbon titty game with everybody. And Captain Quinn's the first guy to bite on it.
Yeah, the other cousins are like, "Dude, we get ribbon love too, dog, but we need that bread. Let her marry."
That'd be dude. Yeah. To find out that Nora's brothers have also been grabbing the ribbon.
I mean, I feel like it's a given. I feel like we already know. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's just the universe I want to live in. But
the thing is, Barry's a penniless young boy, and Captain Quinn has bread, so he's not going to get it. But
them's the motherfucking breaks, dog.
They pull up to the duel.
They're pulling up to the duel, and Barry seems, average scared. Our older guy, who's
Captain
is shitting his fucking pants. It's so funny to look at this motherfucker's face. Insert graphic here, dude, if we can. Dude, it's so
I have the screenshot.
Look at this fucking guy, dude.
That actor is so good in this.
Yes, he is wonderful. He looks like he's literally shitting in his pants.
And when he ups the gun, he's like shaking.
Yeah. And fucking fire goes off. The old guy fucking crumbles to the ground. And it's pretty not anticlimactic. There's no, maybe it's, I thought about this. Maybe it's like my conditioning of the current like way that movies are made or whatever, but there's no fucking blood splurt. There's no like super gratuitous violent thing that happens. And you just, and you let me find out later stuff, but at the same time, there's not a lot of that in the film in general.
It's not super violent, especially in comparison to Clockwork Orange.
And but also, the violence in that movie isn't super bloody.
That's true.
He's just Kubrick but then you get to like Full Metal Jacket. I mean, that was one of the, Kubrick with the motherfucking headshot, the "this is my rifle" shit was one of the first times I ever saw someone's brains get splattered all over a wall in a movie. So, but it's funny, but that's in the 80s. That movie came out in like 80 something. But anyway, this movie is not really on that vibe, and it actually I fucking enjoy it. I'm to a point where I've come. The pendulum has swung back for me, and the super ultra violent bloody stuff.
You don't like gore.
Well, unless it's being sort of used in like a classical way, or like the way that Tarantino uses it in like Django, where it's like super over the top on purpose, trying to create a feeling. But if it's just like being gross to be gross, I prefer the old school method where the violence and the gore is implied, and we kind of stick to the story and we stick to the art. And it's not so much, I don't know. I guess there's a whole world of creating someone's head getting ripped off, and that's cool in its own right.
Practical effects and stuff, but this movie is all about staging these like beautiful painting scenes, basically. And then, how do I say this? It's so gorgeous visually, and then the characters are such like petty scumbags. Yeah. That when you watch like a movie like this, you expect everybody to be like these like mannered professional people, and they act like that, but they're all fucking cunts.
Well, that is the backdrop to so much great art is juxtaposition.
For sure.
And that's what this is. So the whole like commentary, make pieces famous commentary on the British socialite is that they're these huge douchey, like they're giant fucking douches in the most expensive clothing, in the most beautiful countryside, in the most beautiful homes. I mean, that's something else to say about Barry Lyndon is the homes, and like in the second act or whatever,
once he comes up,
holy fuck, this house he lives in, but that's later on down the road. But all the outfits, all the stuff, and it's this really, like you said, it's this really beautiful scene, and these people are just empty, stupid vessels, and it's like
just horny and drunk.
All right, so Barry,
he rides off. They give him 20 guineas. They're like, you got to split town because the cops are gonna come.
And he
looking for
goes
you.
back and meets with his mother.
Yeah, and she gives him the 20.
She lives in this like really humble little hovel outside of the fucking property.
Yeah, she never remarried after his dad got smoked.
Yeah, never remarried. She just lives out there cooking potatoes and shit and fucking being all ugly. Yeah,
she's eating roots out of the ground.
Basically,
being Irish.
Yeah, dirty, incestuous.
Hardy women.
She's probably playing the ribbon with someone in her family, is what you're saying. She's being Irish.
I mean, she didn't remarry, so she's got to be getting the pipe somewhere. But he's riding off, and they're like, the voiceover is like, Barry's pretty much excited about his future. He's got 20 guineas in his pocket. He's got his liberty, but he immediately gets robbed.
Gets racked. So he's like, there's like a roadside station, and they're like, you want something to drink? He's like, yeah.
Gets a sip of water.
They offer him to get off of his horse for some food. He's like, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. Goes
very
down the
menacing, two guys, Captain Feeney and his son, who's apparently like a notorious robber.
Yeah. And so later on down the road, there's an ambush set up with a tree down the pathway. And he's like the most polite and friendly robber. He listens to Barry's plight. You know, Barry's like, dude, I killed a guy. I'm on your team. Like, I fucked a British guy up, a British soldier up, and I'm running from him. And the dude's like, well, you know, I like your story, but I got a job to do.
Tough shit.
And he's like, let me get that horse, and he's like, I'm going to let you keep your boots, which normally I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let me keep my horse. And he's like, he says,
man, I keep my horse.
Yeah. And he said he would love to oblige, but in his line of work, that he must be able to be faster than his clients. He refers to the dude that is robbing.
Fucking robbing.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Again, it's this very mannered way of talking about doing something.
Yeah, I want to take all your shit and I'm going to take your horse. Yeah, great line. I thought that was a lot of fun. I had me chuckling, you know.
So then Barry's dumbass joins the army for 1.5 guineas.
Yeah.
And he immediately gets in this fight, which I love how this is set up. There's like this big ass dude named Tool. Barry's like drinking something out of this fucking, they call it a beaker, which I've never heard
water, probably.
Yeah,
right?
and he's like, mayn't I have a less greasy beaker? Yeah. And this other guy comes over, he's like, rah, and like drinks out of his beaker and is like, fuck you, basically. Yeah. And so this other dude's like, yo, dude, that's Tool. You got fucking shit on him. And he's like whispering to Barry what to say. And he's like, Mr. Tool, I hear your wife wipes your face often with a towel. Are you afraid of getting your ears boxed? And so then they have to fucking square up. They're gonna fight. Barry's about to stab the guy, and they're like, nope, we're gonna make a big square, and you guys are gonna box. There's this sick boxing scene where
super reminds me of Cool Hand Luke.
How so?
Because it's our protagonist proving himself to the group.
For sure.
He going up against, now the fight is very different because, you know, Barry just crushes this dude the whole time, which is the opposite in Cool Hand Luke.
The guy doesn't land a single blow on Barry. This is where we see Barry be, you're like, this is kind of bad.
Yeah, Barry takes his shirt off and he's physically fit. He's like,
the other guy's big as hell.
Yeah, and he handles himself. He does not get punched one time. He fucks this dude up, and it's like
he's breathing really heavily though.
But just the circle and the whole this guy who everyone thought was a fucking queer fag boy is now about to become like the king of the heap.
Yeah, and they lift him on their shoulders after he wins.
That's pretty extra, but.
Another detail, Ryan O'Neal actually trained as a boxer. He was a boxer before he became an actor.
Okay.
So him in this scene, he's like doing his real thing.
It seems so weird to me how boxing and vanity seem to go hand in hand. Did you ever think about that?
Like being like, I'm the prettiest motherfucker alive.
Yeah, well, just like all the most famous boxers in the world, they chose to like get the fucking shit kicked out of them for a living. But if they are successful, the Conor McGregors and the Floyd Mayweathers and the Alis and the fucking so on and so forth, boxers are always the most obnoxious fucking people, dude.
If you're beating somebody's ass for a living,
it's just funny. Like you would think, you know, I don't know. It's just funny to me that duality. But so he fucks this guy's up. Then he gains some favor with everybody.
He's got some clout. He trains for another month. They say he's transformed into a tall and proper young soldier, and they're getting ready to go fight in Germany.
Yeah.
Captain Grogan shows up. Captain Grogan reveals, dun dun dun.
Yeah.
He's like, Barry's like, what's up with Nara? And he's like, she's Mrs. John Quinn now.
She married to that dude you killed.
Dumb as hell. He goes,
yeah.
Is there another John Quinn? He's like, no. We loaded your gun with a blank, basically.
Okay, so first we should say, first, you know, we find out dude didn't die.
Yes, John Quinn didn't die.
No, but he did fucking fall over.
Because he shot him with like towel, which is just like a little hunk of mud.
Okay, so what was their fucking plan? They didn't load Barry's gun. So either, okay, here's
I
like,
don't know if they loaded Captain Quinn's gun.
I'm planning this out. Okay, so that's the question. I'm planning this out. Either Quinn murders Barry.
I think they would have been fine.
Problem solved, yeah. Problem solved.
Barry, dude.
Or, the more likely of the two scenarios is Quinn misses Barry. Barry's little knot hits Quinn. Mm-hmm. They realize that Barry's gun is. Now you have a real fucking problem on your hands. The fact that the dude passed out could not have been like planned.
I think they just knew that Quinn was straight bitch made and was gonna just.
I don't even think the knot hit him.
He passed out for an hour after he got like poked in the chest by the gun.
Well, I didn't even think the thing hit him. I think he just passed out from the fear of thinking that he had just been shot at.
Got so spooked, but.
Yeah, there's no way that was what they were preparing for. So I
think it must be.
I don't. Okay,
it worked out really well for them. We'll say that.
It did. I feel like that was a kind of a weird thing. I don't want to waste too much, but it was really like I was like, well, hold on, what the fuck were they going for there?
Yeah.
But
anyway, so Barry's like, damn it, Nora got took anyway, even though I thought I killed the guy.
Yeah.
So it was all for nothing, but it's ended up with him in this goddamn war, the 7 Years' War, which I don't know anything about, but England and Prussia are allied against the French, Swedes, Russians, and Austrians. This is how much I know about history. I was like, wait, Prussia and Russia are two different things? Should not have thought that was the same thing. There's a P there for a reason.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I do know that there's a town called...
it lasted approximately 7 years. That's it.
Did you know there's a town called King of Prussia outside of Philadelphia? It's where all the shopping malls are.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's the only thing I know about Prussia.
It's dope.
Yeah.
Prussia's chill?
Yeah, Prussia's pretty cool.
Prussia?
King of Prussia.
King of Prussia is the official name of the fucking place.
I know, I apply some Prussia on
It's
that
like
pussy.
on the Philly-Delaware border or something. It's like somewhere up in that fucking deal. But
we see Barry looking very anxious while walking into this battle. The battle scenes in this movie go hard as fuck, dude. So really big, elaborate battle scenes with a bunch of people getting shot and like horses galloping all over the place and stuff.
Yeah, pretty fucking.
It also highlights how dumb this system of fighting was, where they're just walking in straight lines at each other, and then one of the sides is like, "All right, fire," and then a bunch of your friends are like, "Ugh," and fucking fall over dead. And you're just like, I guess I'm gonna continue walking straight at these people, but Captain Grogan gets straight sniped, dude.
Yeah.
Barry carries him off. He gives Barry 100 guineas. He says, "I lost the rest at poker last night," and then he goes, "Kiss me, my boy, for we'll never meet again."
Yeah,
and
I got that.
Barry fucking plants one on this old fat dying man, like really, like there's some tongue in there.
Yeah, I thought it was wonderful.
Gives him this deep ass kiss, and then just like starts crying.
Yeah, they just really lean into the fucking like fop right there. Yeah. And then
that's chill, dude. If my boy was about to die and asked me for a kiss, I'm going in.
I'm giving him a hard one, dude, for real. I mean, you need anything else while I'm down there,
dude? I'm smooching him, but
yeah, I guess there was supposed to be a whole lot more.
He
says the night before that.
He lost a bunch of it at poker.
No.
But Barry's like, I want to get out of the military. This next quote is maybe the thesis of the movie, if there is such a thing. It says, "Gentlemen may talk of the age of chivalry, but remember the plowmen, poachers, and pickpockets whom they lead. It is with these sad instruments that your great warriors and kings have been doing their murderous work in the world." So like all the great men of history that we talk about, underneath them that are actually doing this shit, that are like making history happen, there's a bunch of motherfucking scoundrels, dude.
Yeah.
And
that is a great line, and it's while they're burning some barn down, and there's a family standing outside. Yeah, that is a really fucking good scene. Barry's sick of being in this. He doesn't want to be in the military anymore, and he gets super lucky.
Like, we know the names of these like famous kings and stuff, and you think back about antiquity, and it was like that. But most people just lived these like crummy fucking lives.
Oh yeah, well. Crummy by
our standards,
relative to today, but it depends on your lens. I mean, I've actually lived on a farm, and it was a very hard transition from my normal life onto this farm, and it wasn't like I didn't make the decision. I wasn't like I want to live organically or anything. I had drank myself into complete fucking degradation and nothingness,
Yeah.
and a farmer offered me a place to live.
They
So
sent you to live on a farm.
yeah, well, no, he found me dying behind a dumpster and said, "I'll help you if you come live on my farm." And so I did. And I lived in a tent, and I fucking milked cows. I did the whole thing. Like, I
That's
lived on a
sick.
fucking farm. And it was sometimes I look back on it and I think, that was actually probably some of the simplest and like most enjoyable and fulfilling time of my, like, that part of my life, for sure.
I feel like that's what they used to do with you if you were mentally ill or an alcoholic or whatever in antiquity. They'd be like, we're going to send him to go live on a farm
Yeah.
to fix him.
Yeah, he's going to be a farmhand. Well, and
Yeah.
there was another farmhand there, and he was kind of going through, and over the years on this farm particularly, it's a pretty common thing for like wanderers or vagabonds or whatever the fuck to end up like working on your farm for a little bit until
That's so sick.
they're the road calls them back.
It's just so weary travelers like, sir, may I have some work? And
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
give him some porridge and shit. You're like, you can sleep on the straw bales.
Do you want to hear how I got paid? For 6 months, how I got paid? So I lived in a big canvas
It's
tent.
like eggs.
Okay, now check this out. It was 12 by 12, so I built with plywood and 2x6s. I built a floor in the ground with
Yeah.
posts and shit, and then I put this big canvas Civil War reenactment tent up, like old school, legitimate wooden poles
Hold
and
on,
canvas.
Union or Confederate?
Confederate, yeah, 100%.
You're canceled, man.
Yeah, well, the guy whose farm this was my ex-wife's dad, my
Yeah.
ex-father-in-law. Rest in peace, by the way. He's the one who bought the land and erected the Confederate flag at the intersection of I-4 and 75 that you know about, the famous one.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, he's that guy. Yeah, very, very actually.
He's a lost cause guy.
Yeah, he was a preservation of Southern heritage was his whole thing. I mean,
sure.
we could have a million conversations about that guy. But anyway, so my pay my wage was I got to sleep in there on a fucking cot. I got to eat, right? And we ate good. Like, we ate really good. We raised cattle. We raised a lot of different fruits and vegetables, pigs, chickens. So all the meat was all fucking, shit that fucking, Wall Street guys pay shitloads of money to eat.
For sure.
And every Friday, I got a bag of tobacco and a pack of rolling papers. Swear to fucking God, dude. A pack of
Got
fucking
paid in cigs.
Job 1.25s. Not cigarettes. No.
You had to roll them.
You had to
yourself.
roll them out. Yeah,
That's
that
funny
was
as
the
fuck.
vibe. And you know these like tobacco depots or whatever,
Yeah.
where you can go and they have the machines and they roll the cigarettes and do the filters, or you can just buy the loose tobacco.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in used to be a place, an AA meeting house called the Red Door that was down the street from this farm.
I've heard of this.
And I would go there for the noon meeting 'cause in the summertime, dude, you cannot work on the farm down here in the summertime. And I would go there and I'd sit in the meeting. Now I was still smoking weed. I wasn't really doing AA, but I was hanging around AA. And I would roll my own cigarettes. And people would give me shit. Like, man, that's triggering me for smoking weed or whatever. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Chase that rabbit long enough. Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
The babe.
The babe?
When he comes across the babe, dude.
No. What are we talking about?
He escapes.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the gay
Yeah.
officers? Yeah. This is sick.
I was like, hold on. Well, are you referring to the people in the river as babes?
Pause on that. Yeah.
I was like, we're about to have a whole different
Pause, man.
conversation.
Yeah, he comes across these two officers bathing together in the river and being so gay.
Dude,
It's really adorable.
they are not even being like sexual. They are playing. They're naked in the water, so they're a little
Just being
sexual.
like, James, I miss you so bad.
I never thought I could be so happy with someone. I mean, these motherfuckers are more in love than any man and woman have ever
It's
been.
very sweet.
Their horses are up by, they're tied off underneath the fucking. They're just having a picnic in the afternoon. It's fucking amazing.
They're right by
There's-
the camp too. We
Yeah.
see Barry walk
Yeah.
out from the camp and he's only like 15 feet away, and these two guys are like secretly being gay.
Yeah, and they're
And
just.
he's like peeking around a tree.
And I feel like there was direction in this that was like, I don't want you to fucking making out and like being. I want this to be like two young kids who are falling in love. I want like two 17, 18-year-olds falling in love
But they're officers.
But they're old Foppy. Yeah, so here we go, Foppy, dude. Just pawning over each other. It is so just
cute.
so
It's
fucking cute. And you can hear the conversation a little bit as he's walking away.
And meanwhile, in the foreground of the shot, Barry's like, I'm about to fucking rob these guys.
Oh, yeah. And
so
he takes
steals
their
one of the horses and the
keys.
papers.
The papers is what it is,
Which
yeah.
is the key thing. If you're an officer, you're allowed to travel more freely, but you got to have your papers showing you're an officer. They're going to be like, you're fucking deserting. So,
Yeah.
the voiceover says Barry, he feels once again that he's in his proper sphere and he determines never again to fall from the rank of a gentleman.
Yep. And this is the first time that we hear this sentiment and it becomes like a theme.
He's obsessed with being a gentleman, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of, he has the trauma from earlier in his life of him getting cucked by a gentleman, of this like moneyed English guy coming in and stealing his sexy cousin from him. So now he's like, I gotta get like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he comes across this babe named Lyndon, this German babe.
Babe.
She's hot, dude.
Yeah, she's, yeah.
But he like speaks a little German to her. She speaks a little English. He's like, where can I get some chow? And she looks at him with this like horny ass gaze. Like,
Yeah, you can chow on my fucking stinky ass vag. I'm sure it's,
yeah, her husband's been gone at war. We cut to him dining with her and her like beautiful little baby by candlelight.
Yeah.
The baby's so cute.
It is a really pretty
His dad is
scene,
in the
yeah.
war. And she's like, it must be a danger for you to be in a war. And he's like, I'm an officer and I must do my duty. He's like lying to her about his name and shit too.
Big time, dude.
And then she goes, you are sometimes lonely. And then she takes his hand. He gives her his name. His fake name is literally Fakin' Ham.
Oh, man, I love it, dude. I'm so glad you remember that. I don't think I wrote that down, and I thought that was fucking great.
But then she's like, would you like to stay with me for a while? One of my favorite shots of the movie, she like says that to him and then leans over to him and they start kissing and her baby is just watching them make out, like watching his mom
That's not
make
my
out with
dad.
this fucking stranger that she met 15 minutes ago. And the baby's like, we gotta cut that in if we're able to. It's so funny. And it just looks like a painting. It looks like a Renaissance painting of this baby like, oh, my mom's a whore. When he's leaving, he stays there for a minute. When he's leaving, he says like, I love you in German. She says, pass auf durch, which means take care of yourself. It appears to be this very romantic scene. And then the narrator comes in and goes, a lady who sets her heart upon a man in uniform must be prepared to change lovers pretty quickly. This heart of Lyndon's was like many a neighboring town and had been stormed and occupied many a time before Barry came to invest it. Basically being like, she fucks every soldier that comes through, that she comes across.
Yeah.
So it's there's this ironic thing of like, oh, this is so tender and sweet, and then it's just like, bro, she does this all the time.
Yeah.
She's a SLUT.
There's another...
The narrator's calling people sluts all
Well,
the time.
there's another theme in this movie though, that it's like there's like this super beautiful stuff, and then there's like real life, like right after.
For sure.
Like, yeah. Well,
The narrator is
also-
often interjecting and saying like in a very polite way that like shit is not what it seems. But
Yeah.
narrator then notes that Frederick, King of Prussia, has resorted to kidnapping to keep his army full, and so Barry runs into this Prussian captain, Pottsdorf. And the guy's like, where are you headed? And Barry tells him, and the guy's like, you're going the wrong way. And he asks for his papers. Barry gives him the fake papers. The guy invites him to have a meal, and Barry's just fucking fibbing his ass off, telling all these lies to this guy, like trying to impress him, basically being like, yo, my cousin is like the British ambassador to Prussia. And the guy's like, the guy basically is like, you're a fucking liar, has him arrested right there. He's like, you told me that your uncle is a British ambassador and his name is O'Grady. Basically being like, you're fucking Irish piece of shit.
You fuck
This
your
was a
cousin.
time-
You play ribbon games with your fucking cousin, don't you? You
This
freak.
was a time like throughout much of history where Irish people were just like, people were like, you fucking gross savage, basically. So,
I mean, I think it's still that way. It's certainly American history, a big part of American history.
the Irish are gross scum. Who's got the most presidents? Check it out, man.
Yeah, well,
The Hibernian conspiracy.
Hibernian conspiracy.
It's this idea that like Irish Illuminati had been controlling
Really?
America, basically. Where there's the most Irish presidents out of any ethnic group.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Did it start with Kennedy?
No. Here, I'll look it up real quick.
Then what's that fucking famous? Hey, can you grab me a paper towel?
He was the first Catholic.
Okay. Well, because the movie The Departed.
23 U.S. presidents that boast Irish heritage. There's
the movie The Departed. Jack Nicholson has that quote
he's like 50 years after an Irishman couldn't get a job.
Fucking
we
job.
Had the White House.
Yeah. That's a
May
great
he rest
one,
in peace. I'm not gonna say what he says immediately after that, but
that. Wow,
he uses a nasty word,
fucking...
but he's basically like, "This is what don't get about it. Nobody's gonna give it to you. You have to take it."
Yeah, I fucking love that shit, dude.
That movie's amazing. But so now he's been conscripted forcefully into the Prussian army, and we see this other guy walking the gauntlet, just getting smacked by everybody. The Prussian army is rough, dude. Like if you fuck around in there, they say it's punishable by mutilation or death.
Cut your little pee-pee off, maybe. Mm-hmm. Burn it so you don't bleed out.
Their army is officered by Prussian natives. Like the officers are all Prussians, but everybody else in it,
slaves.
Yeah, it's composed of men from the lowest level of humanity, hired or stolen from almost every nation in Europe.
Nice.
Interesting to think.
Kind of like the Xerxes army, they say the.
300?
Yeah. But that, I mean, that's truth. That's the truth about that army is it was an army made of slaves.
It was all conscripted.
Yeah, and it just kind of gives them a gross vibe.
For sure.
Whatever. So.
But we have
But he fucking kicks ass in the Prussian army.
But
he's a bad motherfucker,
he
dude.
falls into the very worst of courses and company and was soon very far advanced in the science of every kind of misconduct. So him chilling with all these other criminals and shit in the Prussian army, he gets up to some bad stuff.
Yeah, well, he's also down for bad stuff.
He's been gnarly, yeah.
Yeah, he's a gnarly dude. So maybe he wants to be a gentleman. Mm-hmm. Because he thinks that that's how you get the fucking poo nannies and stuff, but he's
He'll
Irish.
Get there by any means necessary.
Yeah, he's fucking Irish, dude. He's gonna do whatever it takes, dude. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
You have to take it.
And
and there's this epic battle scene.
Yeah, good battle scene.
Probably the biggest one in the movie.
Yeah.
And he saves Pottsdorf basically from being trapped under a beam.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I love the juxtaposition of this fucking pretty brutal battle, like people dying and stuff, and you hear the band playing, there's like.
Yeah.
Think about that, dude. You're walking in battle, afraid that your people are fucking getting their heads blown off around you or whatever, and there's just a guy playing a snare drum and another guy on a flute that's what you're hearing while you're bleeding out in the mud. So
that's
sick.
pretty cool.
Yeah, they need to bring that back. I'm sure now the Marines probably play Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh
and
my
shit
god, that's exactly what I was thinking, bro. What's some of those other bands? Oh Jesus Christ, that type of that.
Chevelle.
Yeah, well, no, Chevelle was a little before that.
That's your type of music.
Chevelle.
US Marine headphone music.
Chevelle was a little before. I'm thinking
If I was going into battle, I'd definitely be listening to Bad Wolves.
7 Days Grace.
3 Days Grace.
3 Days Grace.
Seven Dust.
Well, Seven Dust was a little. Yeah, Seven Dust was kind of the beginning of it.
Butt rock.
Huh?
Butt rock.
Butt rock.
I enjoy it. It's good music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it feels kind of produced.
Whirl that voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think guys that wear affliction shirts and studded jeans.
For sure.
Yeah, and have bald heads and goatees.
A long story that I'll keep very short, but my ex-girlfriend, who I'm still in love with, owned an art gallery, and the lead singer of Puddle of Mud came in there and was fucking blackout drunk, trying to have sex with her, and spent $15,000 on art in there, and was like, yeah, you can ship it to my house, swiped his card or whatever, and then he's like, come on, let's go to my hotel, and she was like, sure, and then put him in a cab and was like, take him, and he was looking out the window
nice.
This is the cab rolls on. And he never gave her his address, so we just had all this sick fucking art in our house.
Really?
That the guy
he
from
paid
Puddle of
for
Mud paid for, yeah.
And never got. Yeah. And never came back for.
Yeah, he's got 6 DUIs. He's in
so
trouble.
They are my favorite of those bands because he is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you remember the?
I love the song where he goes, "Everything is so messed up."
Yeah. Did you see a few years ago, a few more than a few now, but he did About a Girl?
No.
They did oh my God, they did an acoustic I need an easy friend. They covered the Nirvana, and he's so fucking out of tune. It got like virally raped.
I need to check that out.
It was incredible. It made me love him so much more. Dude.
Another one with
and then he went
guy,
off the deep end.
Horrible hairline, and there's always something covering it. He's always got some kind of fucked up retarded hat on, or like a fucking
bandana. He's the bandana
thing,
guy.
like Bret Michaels. Yeah.
Oh man, him and Bret Michaels fucking chill, dude.
So for Barry sitting
drink
Captain
beers
Pottsdorf,
together.
he gets rewarded with 2 Friedrich d'Or, which I looked this up because I wanted to know what the money that they're playing with is in this movie. So 2 Friedrich d'Or is 5 Reichsdaler, and a Reichsdaler is worth 6 kilograms of meat, 12 kilograms of bread, 0.25 kilograms of tea, 1 kilogram of tobacco.
Really?
So how much were they giving you on the farm?
A kilo of tobacco? I was how much was I getting?
You were probably
it was a
getting
bag. It was probably a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, it was a pound. It was absolutely a pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 2 bottles of champagne, but a workhorse is going to be 25 Reichsdaler. So you would need to
So it's all of those things.
You need to get 5 times what he gets to buy a horse. Basically, it's not that much money.
Oh, yeah. Well, not.
It's not all those things together.
It's like a week of groceries. He basically got a week of groceries. Yeah. So like $300.
Yeah. So while he's getting this honor that they're giving him and giving him this money, this captain is talking to him, and he's like, "You're heroic, but you're idle, dissolute, and unprincipled. And for all your talents and bravery, I'm sure you will come to no good." Just basically being like, "You're a piece of shit, dude."
Yeah, we got you all of this stuff, and we think you're cool right now, but your life's still gonna be like pointless.
But now he's broed up with Pottsdorf because he saved
Irish.
his life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put him in the police bureau, and his first assignment is to be a spy on this guy, the Chevalier de Barbary, and they suspect that he's a spy from Ireland, basically a British spy, that he's spying on the Prussians for the English.
Okay, but what's his front? Like what?
He pretends to be a chevalier, which is basically like a noble, and he's a big gambler.
Yeah, so he pretends to be a noble.
Mm-hmm. He's a libertine, which means
and they think he's a spy, and they're like, all right, we're gonna send you over there, and you don't speak English, right? You don't speak English. You're just gonna be his little slave boy.
Spy on the spy, trying to figure out what he's up to.
And they don't say this, but basically, like, if he wants to do sex things to you, allow it, right?
I didn't pick up on that, but the guy is he's...
Again, this is just like the universe I like to live in.
This guy's fopped out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is awesome.
So this is the first time we see, which we start to see more of, the drawn on beauty marks, right? So people like drawing circles on their face for fake beauty marks. Lots of makeup.
Powdered, fully white face.
I love it, dude.
It's so sick, dude.
Can you imagine what those people smelled like?
Probably pretty bad.
Yeah, because they were probably pretty funky, and they weren't technically taking care of the funk. They were just coating it with all these aromas. So it was just like that whole, like a hooker with Chanel No. 5, but like the Walmart version on her.
This is modern, so she smelled nice, but I've hooked up before with a girl in New Orleans Mardi Gras times who she was in like a Marie Antoinette type thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so hot. But also the makeup comes off very quickly, so she just had I was like licking her face and shit, so the makeup was all fucked up.
Yeah, that's another thing. How did they taste?
Probably weird, yeah.
Probably like paste.
Yeah, and they're making the makeup out of like ground up bugs and shit.
Yeah, right?
But you gotta be looking fire, so... They send him to meet with this guy. Barry immediately is like, "Oh, this guy's Irish. I miss Irish people so much," and he just immediately confesses
everything. He cannot fucking take it. It's actually like this really sweet moment. The narration. Do you have the actual? Because if you have that, that's one of my favorite ones.
I just know that I didn't write it down.
It's just like
Barry imprudently confesses that he's an Irishman.
Yeah, hearing his native tongue. The native tongue just draws out. The guy is everything he wants to be. He's a fucking nobleman. He is like. So Barry just loses it. He starts crying. He confesses, "I am here."
Yeah. And the Chevalier gives him a big hug.
And if you still want me to do sex things, I'm actually more into it now.
I did not pick up on the sexual aspect of it.
Well, we see what we want to see.
For sure.
In life, I guess.
But now he's a double agent, and he's helping the Chevalier gamble by spying on people's trump cards. So when they're all
So now
gambling,
he's a double spy is what we call this?
He'd be a double agent.
Double agent.
He's an agent when they send him in there, and then now he's working for the Chevalier. The Chevalier knows he's supposed to be a spy, so
and
he's
shooting
taking
back. Yeah, and they're just Englishing it up or Irishing it up, dude. They're loving it.
He's
they're
helping him cheat at cards.
Yeah, dude. And that was a really good scene. I really liked when they fucking duped that fool. And the guy's like,
this Austrian ambassador.
Yeah.
Is like, I don't know quite how, but I'm sure that you cheated, and you'll have to fight me if you want the money. That guy's very sick looking.
Yeah, I fucking fuck with that guy.
And at this point,
do
they're
we
gambling.
Fill that thread? Do they close that loop ever, or that guy just walks out?
Yeah, they do. Barry duels him.
Barry duels him.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was the later on.
They're gambling at this point for 1,500 Friedrich d'Or. So that would be enough for you to get fucking... You get like 30 horses.
Mucho dollars.
I'm bad at math, but workhorse is 25.
How much did he get?
$1.
How much did he get?
He got 2.
He only got 2, and now he's battling for
saving that guy's life. And now they're on
gambling
one hand,
1,500.
15,000. So
15,000.
money is real good.
They're doing Lambos and shit. They got Bugattis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
It's the modern equivalent of being Big Boss Baller, Dan Bilzerian type guy.
Yeah. They got Bugattis. They got little boys and shit. They fuck.
They got hella babes.
Yeah. Or little boys.
Your choice of babe or boy.
Yeah. They're all chilling in the back in a fucking cold room waiting. Yeah. We got everything.
But the Chevalier is basically like, I'm about ready to get out of here. And so this situation with the Austrian ambassador, the Chevalier is basically like, I am going to fight you. I demand satisfaction. You didn't pay me my money. And he knows he'll be deported, but he assures Barry that he's not going to be left behind. He's like, I'll take care of you, Barry. And so Pottsdorf is like, all right, I'm deporting the Chevalier. Sends these guys to pick the Chevalier up and like take him out of the country. Barry comes out dressed like the Chevalier. He's got the finery on or whatever. And so they think he's the Chevalier, and they take him to the frontier and give him 2,000 Friedrich d'Or from the prince. And the Chevalier has already escaped the country. He uneventfully crossed the border the night before. So now Barry...
Did it take you any time to put together that it's Barry?
No.
No?
I mean, it was like, that's my boy Barry.
Yeah, it took me like a half a second. But you know what's funny is, so when we watched this, I was like, oh man, I've seen most of Kubrick's shit. I don't think I ever saw Barry Lyndon. I should watch it. That scene actually reminded me that I had seen the movie before.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, I remember this part. And that was the thing I remembered. I was like,
him being sneaky.
Well, him dressed up, and I just remember being like, oh, that's cool. Because they don't tell you that's what's going on. You just have to put it together. And he does look like him because he's got that goofy-ass fucking wig and all this shit on. So, and they're both white, Irish, family.
He's clearly younger than the Chevalier, but these guys don't know what he looks like.
No, yeah. I mean, they rides off, man, and it's fucking time to get it.
Yep, he links back up with the Chevalier and begins his life as a gamester. He's dealing cards for the Chevalier.
They're running basically like a traveling casino, dude. They bring these games of chance to these noble households, and they just like give them the opportunity to fucking blow their, get their weird on, but they cheat them. They fucking grift these people.
And he resolves thenceforward and forever to live the life of a gentleman.
Yeah,
so he and the Chevalier are just pulling up at various courts in Europe gambling. There's all these beautiful candlelit scenes of these like wigged up debauchery. This guy, Lord Ludd, we see him, he's got like this babe next to him, and he's like gambling and stuff, and he keeps going like, just like smooching this girl gently while he's gambling. And
probably the pinnacle of the fop. I mean, I feel like...
He's fopped out. He's
I feel like...
He has the beauty mark in the middle of his head.
Yeah, we built... And there's two, I think. I think he's got one on his chin, too. And it's just like, this guy... they keep upping the ante with the fop, but if you got any more than this, it would just be too much. I feel like...
I was wrong, by the way. I thought that he duels the Austrian guy. That isn't
it's this guy.
He duels Lord Ludd.
With a sword.
Yeah. So they always play with credit.
Yeah,
But they
but
always pay their bills, and if they don't, Barry's basically the enforcer. It's his great skill with the sword and readiness to use it that maintains the reputation of the firm. So he fights Lord Ludd.
yeah,
He doesn't kill him. He gets him with the rapier, the pointy sword, and he's like, and Lord Ludd's like, I will pay you today, sir.
yeah, and then it makes the point in the narration that this grift that they have going requires you to be a fucking force of nature. Like they're not bitch asses, bro. Like they trick people out of their money and stuff, and they're sneaky, which they're kind of smart the way that they do it, but also fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And so more and more Barry Lyndon at this point of the film is our fucking boy. This guy is like the baddest motherfucker. I'm super team Barry by this point.
I love him the whole movie.
Yeah, well, I don't know
He's an action hero.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to though. I feel like once we get after the intermission, there's a couple parts where
I relate to him.
Yeah, but I mean, are you really supposed to, be going hard with the whole like
Cheating?
And just we'll get there. And so
he decides that he's gonna marry a woman of fortune and condition.
Yeah, as they're doing this grift, he meets another heaving-breasted woman. Yes, they're small, but
they're heaving. And
by far the most, in my opinion, like generally,
she's hot,
beautiful. Yeah, she's
the Countess of Lyndon.
She's like a star.
Lyndon,
she looks like I don't know who this actress is, but
no.
To me it seems that she was probably the chosen one of the the top of the call sheet.
She's the main female character.
Yeah.
She's the husband of this old crippled guy, Sir Charles Lyndon, or she's the wife of him.
Here we go with the Lyndon. We finally are finding out.
For sure, yeah.
Which the whole time you're kind of wondering, like, where does
his name's fucking Redmond Barry. How does he get his name switched around or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. So
her husband is a minister to King George.
That opening of the first chapter of the film says how he became.
How he acquired the name,
style
and title. So Sir George is this, or Sir Charles is this cripple. He gets wheeled around in a chair, and he basically has this hot trophy wife. And she's got her chaplain, who kind of acts as like a tutor to her son. He's a chaplain, so he's like her spiritual advisor. And he's this great character. This guy's just kind of like gently disapproving of what's going on all the time. And we have her little son, who's named the Viscount Bullingdon. They call him Bully. Who's a melancholy little boy, much attached to his mother, is what they say.
Yeah.
And he will become a main character also.
Uh-huh.
This little kid who's kind of protective of his mom's, and we'll find out he does not
So
care
they
for
do
Barry.
some foreshadowing with this little boy. Okay, I don't know if I caught that, actually.
But Barry's, they're gambling, and Barry is like staring at Lady Lyndon while he's dealing the cards out. They're fucking straight smoldering, dude. Yeah,
so this is some more. Now we're back to the Barry from the beginning of the movie. This slave to his heart.
Kind of, but he's also like, this bitch has got bread,
Yeah, but he's, he lines up his sights, dude. Like, it's going down. This is happening.
Yeah. And she knows what's up, too. She, like, walks outside. We see her tutor, Mr. Runt, is, like, looking between the two of them like, oh shit, dude. Basically knows something's up. And
yeah.
she's like, Mr. Runt, I'm going outside. It had this vibe of like, you're at a bar with a girl and a guy that she has like friend zoned, and you're hitting it off with her, and he's just kind of like madly supervising you while you're making moves on a girl that he has unrequited love for, type of thing. But she goes outside. Barry comes out. They literally haven't even been introduced, but he just takes her hand, and they fucking smooch.
Yeah.
His riz is impenetrable, bro.
Yeah, this is the height. This is the height of, riz Barry is found who he is. He is fucking target locked, top of his game.
Yeah.
Crushing Richies, stealing their vag. And so he finds this Lyndon. And he's like, listen here, Papa, this is mine now. 6
hours after they met, the narrator says she's in love with him.
Yep.
And once he gets into her company, he finds innumerable occasions to improve his intimacy. So he's
smashing, and he's creatively every single time smashing better, harder, faster.
Stronger.
So this guy...
He's dropping
He's everything we all want to be.
Brutal Irish pipe, dude.
Yeah, and he's everything we all want to be. He's on
For
top
sure.
of
you
that.
know how much I would love to have a rich
Maintain.
woman,
Yeah.
and her rich husband hates me, but then he dies and I get all the money. Sorry, just flashing forward a little
Yeah.
bit.
Wow. So they're walking around town and she's just flaunting it too. Ain't nobody scared.
Yeah, dude. Nobody, everyone knows exactly what's happening. And so then, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, Barry walks in and these guys are gambling and Sir Charles is there, her husband.
Yeah.
And Sir Charles kind of confronts him. This old sick man is like, "Have you done with my lady?" And Barry's like, "Well, sir, I don't know what you're talking about." And Sir Charles is like, "I'm a man who would rather be known as a cuckold than a fool." And he's getting like so pissed at Barry, basically.
Well, it shows though that he's like, so Lyndon's got huge dick energy in that, like, I know you fuck my woman, but I don't care. Are you done? Can I,
Sir Charles is kind of like that, but he's clearly pissed, dude.
Yeah, he's mad, but he's also like, all right, your playtime's over.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get worked up about it. He's so fucking oblivious. His life has been so controlled by his own will that he doesn't even occur to him that this little motherfucker could stand a chance.
I don't think so, man. I think he knows because he literally.
Well, not at first. I think it becomes
he
evident.
Gets so mad that he dies.
Yeah.
He goes on this rant where he's like, "Look how fond my wife is of me that she's already seeking a successor." Basically being like, she's planning for me to be dead. And he goes, "He wants to step into my shoes."
Yeah.
This actor is fire, dude. He's
Yeah.
so mad, and he's like, he keeps like laughing and hacking and coughing. And he's like, you're right that he still wants to win because he goes, "What are the odds that I live to see Mr. Barry hang yet?"
Yeah.
And then Barry goes, "Let those laugh that win," and he kind of walks off, and Sir Charles is like, and he's like trying to eat his pills, and his pills like fucking spill everywhere, and then the narrator is basically like, Sir Charles died. He got like cucked to death, dude. He got so mad about being cucked that he was like,
yeah, he dies. That's pretty fucking tremendous.
And Barry stays so chill through that entire encounter. He's just like,
yeah, he does too.
He
doesn't seem to get like emotional or worked up or anything. And this is where
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
This is where the intermission pops up.
Yep.
And we get an orchestra and we get everything.
All right, we'll be back.
Yeah, dude. Adios, guys. Thank you for spending this time with us this afternoon.
Adios and videos.
And videos, yes. Thank you.
This has been Neighbors, Barry Lyndon, Part 1. We'll be back.
All right.
I am the resurrection of the life that saith the Lord. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me.
All right.
Back for Part 2.
Part
Barry
2.
Lyndon. Barry Lindy. He's the man, dude.
Yeah, well, so where did we stop? We stopped, he was...
We stopped after he effectively trolls his girlfriend's husband to death. Where the guy's going like, "Ha ha 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 ha, he thinks he can take my place." And Barry Lyndon's like, "Let those who win laugh, sir." And the guy's like, "Rah!" And fucking spills his pills everywhere.
And
fucking dies. And Barry's like, "Sick, I'm about to secure the bag."
Then we get, a very Kubrick style, classical orchestra, black screen intermission.
Yes.
Very good vibe, dude. I'm into it. It lets me know that I'm experiencing something. I like that kind of thing.
For sure. And we get the title of the second half of the movie, which is containing an account of the misfortunes and disasters which befell Barry Lyndon. Which I like that it's kind of like takes the blame off of him. Oh, they befell him. It's like, bro, it's because he's wilding out, being horny and drunk all the time.
Well, that's kind of like a joke, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
So we see their marriage, and I love this shit. Please put this clip in. Reverend Runt is like reading and turning the pages, but he's just staring at Barry, being like, this matrimony is not in any way to be enterprised, nor taken in hand unadvisedly, lightly or wantonly, to satisfy man's carnal lusts and appetites like brute beasts that have no understanding. He's just staring at him being like, I know you're just trying to fuck, my friend and get the bag from her. Again, bringing to mind when you meet a girl and she has her like friend-zoned buddy with her and you're like rizzing her up and he's just sitting there pissed like, leave her alone. That's like the vibe at their wedding, and I love it.
Yeah.
And
the guy's hating on him big time.
He immediately starts being a bad boy. They're like riding in the carriage, and he's blasting smoke. And she's like, "Could you not smoke?" And he just blows it straight in her fucking face.
It is one of the most epic fucking douche moves, and I did not see it coming. Like, really? I kind of caught the vibe that we are gonna see a turn in this dude. You know, he's gonna go from.
He's gonna go beast mode.
Well, just from like, you know, our sort of hapless, lovable Irishman, he's slowly becoming like more and more full of himself, and then, you know, third act, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it was very blunt. It was like an automatic, he just turned and he goes from like nothing to, you know, fuck you, this is my show. And just blows it right in her face. It's an epic shot.
I love it, man.
I think that would make a good t-shirt.
Him blowing the smoke in her face.
Man, big time, dude.
Absolutely.
Great fucking shot. Perfect. And it's just like, this whole montage that follows gets it all out of the way. We're now dealing with a completely different human being.
Because doesn't it immediately show him cheating on her too?
Yeah. How many times she lets you back for fucking around with these thoughts, bro? He's fucking, there's titties everywhere. He's all over it. That's a super Kubrick shot too.
The narrator says that his wife is now going to be about as important as a carpet. Yeah. She's the pleasant background of his existence.
Yeah, well.
Which is like, look, I'm out here looking for love now. If I just had a rich wife that I could just kind of like manipulate, and meanwhile I get to satisfy my carnal lusts and appetites and fucking smoke weed in the house and shit.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's kind of the dream. But as always the problem, her motherfucking son.
Dude.
Barry's not the stepdad. He's the dad that stepped up, or rather refused to step up.
Yeah.
And we see little Lord Bullingdon tell Reverend Runt, he's like, I think Barry's an opportunist. I think he's just here to try and get the bag, basically.
Yeah.
Smart kid.
Well, I think everyone sees it, right?
Yeah.
Except for the woman.
Yeah.
Well, now she sees it.
She's maybe starting to grasp this, but the fact is that he, just by being like handsome, he kind of just won her heart, and she stays attached to him through him doing all kinds of wild shit to her. So
yeah, well, she never took the time in her life to build a fucking identity either. She just married some rich old guy when she was young.
Facts.
She's just been fucking rich and stupid her whole adult life. So
and now it's kind of turnabout.
Yeah.
You know? Now she's got a guy exploiting her. So, I don't know. Their relationship to me is pretty intriguing, because I do think Barry starts off with some genuine affection for her, but then he just like, his Irish nature takes over, man.
Well, and I sort of wonder if any of his affection throughout the film is genuine. If he's even capable of.
You don't think he loves his cousin Nora?
No, I think it's all lust.
You think it's a boyish?
I think
boyish
the whole character of Barry Lyndon is a very empty vessel with a lot of like phony big emotions.
Wow, dude.
Yeah,
I would not say that.
They're real to him, but they're not backed by real like follow through.
It's true. That's true. He does have a lot of love though for his son.
Yeah,
who we see gets born, Brian.
Yeah.
But we see
they
her
have one like right away. Yeah.
There's a direct cut from her holding the baby and Barry being like, "Oh, look at my baby," to him having a threesome with these two bewigged babes. He's just like kissing back and forth between these two,
just orgying it out, dude.
Fucking naked chicks with wigs on.
Yeah.
And his boys are just like there in the room, like smoking and drinking too. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, very Greek.
It looks like a rap video. It's like a hip hop video.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The whole team is about to smash these two thoughts, dude. It's sick, man.
And they're biracial, dude. They're going in. There's a black girl and a white girl in that.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there's a black girl that he might be kissing the black girl, but it's definitely put that up, put the titties and everything. It reminds me of the cover of Surfer Rosa.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like a very beautiful, but kind of, erotic,
It's tight, man. Have you seen The Last Duel?
Yes, that's a great fucking movie.
The Last Duel also has those like crazy orgy scenes in it. Where
Yeah,
I'm
it does.
Yeah, man. Just being like a court noble and just having all manner of.
Just gotta wonder what it smells like. To me, when I see that shit,
Yeah,
all I
it's
can think
nasty
about
for
is
sure.
gotta stink so bad, dude. Those
But you
people
get
do
accustomed to it, and it doesn't bother you anymore. Or maybe you even eroticize it. You know?
Probably. I'm sure there was.
Beethoven was sexually obsessed with farts. He wrote several songs about farting. Or wait, no, Mozart.
Mozart?
Yeah, Mozart was obsessed with farts. If you see Amadeus, he farts as part of a
I
song
love
in
that
Amadeus.
movie.
Yeah.
God, I hope somebody picks that fucking movie, dude. I haven't seen that in forever. I'll probably just go watch that for fun this week.
Yeah, we should do Amadeus. But the narrator says Barry thinks his wife should focus on raising a child and leave the frivolities and pleasures of the world. Leave that duty to be performed by him. Just basically being like, you do the work, raise the kid, okay? I'm going to handle all the drinking, all the smoking, all the threesomes with the wig babes. I'm going to handle all the
this
gambling.
this whole being rich thing, dude, I got it. You just be a carpet that raises my boy.
And he's not doing a very good job of hiding it. She's like walking with the baby carriage and Reverend Runt, and she just like looks over, and Barry's just making out with some chick.
And he realizes that she's seen him. And
he sees her. He's like, oh shit, or whatever, and she's just like, just walks off. It says that she tends to a melancholy.
Fast,
yeah,
it gets dark fast.
He's just openly cucking her.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, man. At this point in the movie, I'm a little bit upset.
Why?
Because I'm just like, man, dude, I fucking like this guy, and I'm rooting for him. And then now he's living this way that it's just like, man, that ain't right. Well, dude, there's this natural part of me when I sort of expect a story to go a certain way.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that me being upset is like unwarranted, or probably even what he was going for as a storyteller was to like trick the audience and to have you like vibing with a guy, rooting for a guy, underdog, and dude gets robbed, dude's in the military, he's a slave, this huge getaway with the Chevalier, like fuck yeah. And then now he's a fucking piece of shit, misogynist, fucking philanderer, fucking, and you're like, god damn,
I think from the beginning, he's just been ruled by his passions, dude. He just doesn't think stuff through. He makes really rash decisions. He joins the army for like 1.5 guineas. He starts beef over his cousin's titties.
Why is that currency a fucking racial slur, I wonder?
I don't know.
Or why is that racial slur a currency?
I don't know, but they did used to serve in my elementary school cafeteria. We would have guinea grinders, which was a hot dog bun with Italian sausage on it.
Ooh. Where was this?
Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, wow. Well, they're still fucking, calling shit out there.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So, if you think that white people don't suffer from racism, there you go. But anyway.
So, this guy is being a fucking ass fucker. They have a kid.
This kind of power reversal where it's like she's rich and so she has all the power, but then once they're married, he's like, just starts running the show basically because he's a man. Yeah. Like she starts off as like, oh, I'm this rich lady. Oh, don't you want my money? And then once he's got like secured the bag or whatever, he does whatever she wants. And she's like too attached to him because of her, womanly nature to do anything about it.
And also her lack of identity
For sure. She doesn't have much going on.
Yeah. But it still technically is all of her bread. Because he needs her to be cutting the checks. There's these scenes where she's
signing the checks all the time.
Basically just signing checks, And he's racking the debt up.
For sure.
Yeah, he's throwing all these fucking obscene parties. He's no longer creating income. He's basically just having all these he's hood rich, bro.
Yeah.
He's throwing huge fucking opulent parties.
He's trying to secure a peerage, which is basically when you start getting money from the crown. If you become like a noble, the king starts paying you.
That's why they hired that one guy to be hanging around them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's that dude's name?
Gustavus Adolphus.
Yeah.
The king's cousin.
Did we jump ahead?
Yeah, I did want to say Lord Bullingdon, little bully, refuses to kiss him. Kind of Tom Brady situation. If you've ever seen that video where Tom Brady's son is like, I don't want to kiss you. And he's like, come here, give me a kiss on the lips.
I haven't seen that video.
It's crazy. Tom Brady's getting a massage and he just like insists that his son kiss him.
Wow.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Barry gets mad that he can't get the smooch, and so he takes Lord Bullingdon in the other room and canes him, hitting him in the ass with a cane, going 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, and then we cut to him. We cut forward, and now he's older. Lord Bullingdon's older. I forget this actor, but he's one of my favorite parts of the movie. Is the guy that plays like teenage older Lord Bullingdon is just like so foppy and like
yeah, he's very pretty.
Yeah, he's
very
gorgeous.
pretty and angry.
For sure.
Yeah.
But now it's Lord Brian's 8th birthday. The nobility come to pay their respects. And Barry's mom, this is where we get to the peerage thing. She's like, I'm so proud of you, but what future will there be if your wife tires of your wild Irish ways, or if she dies? Like, you have none of your own money, and her estate is going to go to young Bully, and you know he doesn't fuck with you. So you got to obtain a title. And that's when he calls up Gustavus Adolphus, Lord Wendover, the king's cousin, who's basically like, the people that I take up are the best. I will get you a peerage. But Barry's efforts are kind of unlucky, the narrator says. He spends a shitload of money on bribes. He keeps buying art and land for more than it's worth, just like trying to ingratiate himself.
You can take the guy out of
nobility.
Ireland, but you can't take the Ireland out of the guy, huh?
How so? What do you mean?
He's just always going to be a cousin fucking hillbilly from the backwoods North Country.
Yeah, he gets a bunch of bread, and he's just being nouveau riche, basically.
Yeah, nouveau riche,
he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing with it. He's new money, just hood rich.
Yeah, you can
spending his bitches.
You can take him out the woods, but you can't take the hick out of him, dude. He's just,
Basically, he shacked up with a lady with a kid. She got her taxes in, and he started going crazy buying a Nissan Altima and shit. He's putting rims on it. He's getting a sound system.
He has a mink hat at this point. He's got a mink brimmed hat, dude.
There's a great scene where Barry, because they're like, he's going and buying paintings to try and get more clout.
Oh yeah, how much is this painting?
And Barry goes, I love the use of the color blue by the artist.
That's pretty funny.
He's just like trying to think of something to say about a painting, which is me when I've gone to art galleries with babes before.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
what do you think he's trying to say here? And
then I'll just read the thing. And I'm like, it looks like maybe he was, commenting on the massacre at Dresden.
Louis did some really good stuff with art museums. He did some in his TV show, Louis C.K.'s TV show, with him and that chick are going to the museums and just having making fun of the art and shit like that.
I like going to museums.
I mean, I like the crazy
art.
Yeah, I like the concept, but to be honest, every time I'm in a museum, and every time we go to Manhattan, every time I go to a real city or whatever, I'm always going to the museums, trying to get fucking culture. I always feel like I'm a
Philistine.
Yeah, like a sore thumb. I feel like a fucking hillbilly walking around in there. For some reason, I just don't feel like I understand it. Especially like modern art. Like I'm a big fan of classical art. Like one of my favorite painters of all time is Caravaggio. He was a Catholic painter, very specific,
super detailed.
Yeah, and there's some abstract artists I really like. I think Jackson Pollock is a fucking like nobody. I think that stuff's crazy.
Yeah,
I do like Kandinsky, but that has more to do with my sister when I was growing up. But yeah, so when I go to these
she's a big Kandinsky head.
Yeah, she's an artist, She has a bunch of mosaics all over town and a bunch of churches, by the way. But when I was growing up, I thought she was like the coolest human being on earth. And she had that poster that I actually have in my living room now, that famous Kandinsky, huge abstract. But yeah, when I go to I don't know, I just feel like people are just being all posh and fucking stupid.
Modern art, people pretending that like a fucking Rothko or whatever, where it's just like two big things of color. I'm like, this fucking sucks, man.
Well, I feel like, Andy Warhol had a point. Pop art, everything is art. Everything can be art. But I feel like a lot of really shitty socialite people kind of grabbed a hold of that idea and just sort of like maintain their relevance in the world because they don't have to earn income. So they like created this whole fucking art scene just to feel relevant. And it's like none of this means anything to anybody outside of fucking Lower East Side of Manhattan.
You know what I love is like the pop art shit where like the galleries in Miami where it's just like a huge painting of like the Monopoly man, but he has gold teeth and he's like smoking weed and shit. Or it'll just be like a gorilla wearing jewelry, that type of shit. Or it's like a coffee table made out of lucite and it has a bunch of like guns and whiskey in the coffee table. That art rules, man.
So
just like cringe shit for like wealthy Cuban Bitcoin guys to buy. That stuff's sick.
I guess there's something to that where it's like you figured out a way to fucking get rich making this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like that part of it. Like, let me watch this asshole buy a laminated turd from me real quick. Sprinkle some fucking glitter on it and some gold dust.
Well, there's this guy. This guy famously was like getting paid a shitload of money to do an installation at a gallery, and he just nailed a banana to a wall. Everybody's like, I wonder what the fucking banana means.
Do you remember when Banksy did that thing where he
shredded the thing?
Yeah, that was a good one.
He's cool. Yeah, he's kind of making fun of that stuff, but
yeah.
My favorite paintings are the Flemish, like the Dutch ones, where it's super detailed and it's just like people with weird facial expressions, which this movie has a lot of that. Of like people just like making simpering weird faces and shit. Just going over the top.
It's funny because like when I'm watching the movie, I'm not picking up on this so much, but I always judge a film on like how it stays in my brain for like the following week or two. Mm-hmm. Like I watched this movie last night called A Real Pain.
That was a decent movie.
Yeah, and while I'm watching it, it's pretty underwhelming. You know, there's not a ton of shit going on. You know, there's some pretty heavy subtext. There's some pretty like, you know, strong relationship conversation going on, personality stuff.
Suicide.
I can super relate to Kieran Culkin in that movie just being like the coolest guy at the dinner party with no real life. Like I was that guy.
Yeah.
I'm always been, perpetually that guy still to this day. But there's a line that when I heard it, I was just like, wow, they're fighting. And then later today or this morning, I'm like, God damn, he says, you lift up a room, every room you walk into, and then you shit all over everybody in it. And I was like, golly, man, that hits hard. And his reaction to it too is just like this very sort of like dismissive, but also obviously it stung.
Yeah, you right.
Yeah. That shit. And so like this movie all morning, I'm sitting there anytime I'm not, engaging with another person, I'm like thinking about this movie. And that's what Barry Lyndon did is like, I start to think about all these, like, there's all these really, you think that they're just space filler shots, but what they really are is they're creating this theme of all these like super goofy, over the top, super like self-important people that this whole world is full of. It's great, dude. I fucking love it. You don't even realize it's happening, but then when something happens, you have all this like notion, you know what I mean? It's like a really smart way to build, character and shit.
That's why the whole movie, to me, on this being like my third or fourth viewing of it, is very funny to me because I'm just like, oh, this whole thing is like mocking these people.
Next time I have 4 fucking hours, I'll probably rewatch this with all this, but
Barry meets the king. The king is just walking around shaking everybody's hand in this room, which I guess is part of being a king, is you just get introduced to people and you go like, oh yes, and he meets he talks to Adolphus' cousin, and then he gets introduced to Barry, and the king is like, we were very fond of Charles, who's the guy that Barry cucked and killed by cucking him, basically. And Barry's little attaché goes, Barry raised a company to go fight the rebels in America. And the king goes, raise another company and go with them. Keeps it pushing, dude.
Hell yeah.
Does not offer him a peerage or anything. He's basically just like, go fight in America and die for me.
Yeah. You Irish fuck.
Which that's also, I'm like so bad with history. I'd never known anything. I know about American history. So then I was like, oh yeah, this is like 1700s or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about, like, while Barry Lyndon, I know he wasn't a real guy, but like while he was doing all this, also Thomas Jefferson's over, like, these are the same kind of types of people that founded our country.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
the
they
people.
were more badass and cool. I love America, man.
Well, they just had. I mean, honestly, Barry Lyndon ends up on the other side of the fucking Atlantic. Maybe he's on the fucking $20 bill.
Barry would have been. He would have been
very
sick.
Andrew Jackson.
He would have been like Ethan Allen, if you know about Ethan Allen.
Not really.
Ethan Allen was basically founded Vermont.
Okay.
He just stole all this land from all these other people and raised a militia and was just like, "Fuck you, this is my land now." And in the Revolution,
pretty American.
He stormed this big British fort and he just basically like ran in there while everybody was asleep and he caught the commander of the fort in his underwear.
Ooh.
And was just like, "We're taking the fucking fort. I'm gonna fucking shoot your dick off." And the guy was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, chill. Okay, you can have it." But he was this huge guy also. He was like 6'3", just this like big giant wild man. He got drunk all the time. He was sick, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of
the furniture place is named after him.
A lot of the forefathers have this vibe.
Yeah.
This fucking, they started a whole country, man. Bunch of psycho white tits.
They were all wasted too.
Yeah.
That's the book. This book, Drinking in America, like tells this whole story.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like Washington, when he was keeping all the soldiers.
You gotta imagine most conquerors over time have been.
For sure, but while they were like waiting out that winter, at Valley Forge,
yeah,
they would run out of food, and he would just be like, "We just need more whiskey. We don't need food. I just need to keep these guys sauced up,
damn fucking straight, dude, until they die.
We're gonna be fine."
And what if I told you at that time people drank more beer and gin than water?
Yeah, of course, because the water wasn't potable.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all that fermented shit. I mean, they figured out how to get beer. It was much lower alcohol content, right?
Yeah.
But there's that, and then I mean, coffee didn't even come around till like the 16th century.
Coffee was a huge thing, dude.
Yeah. Because basically
everybody was getting geeked up.
Basically, every human being was always buzzed, right? I mean, like
for sure,
like the history of mankind, and then all of a sudden there's this other new thing that like wakes you up and like takes. I mean, it probably changed the whole course of the human brain. Probably it was not that the science wasn't there to like keep track of this, but I'm sure, just like I'm sure that since we figured out how to fucking cook food by like getting oil to a boiling temperature and submerging our food in it until it's edible has changed our fucking biology.
Yeah.
I'm sure that coffee has changed the brain over the last few centuries.
I mean, it takes a long time for that shit to happen, man.
I wonder how long we've been deep frying food. Is that a fairly recent phenomenon, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. They didn't have enough oil to do it in the past.
Well, I mean, beef tallow and lard and shit. I mean, you don't think they were like...
They didn't have heating sources that could get that shit super hot.
I mean, fire's pretty hot, bro.
Yeah,
they were boiling
deep frying
water.
is a relatively recent innovation.
I really want to know. About the history of deep frying.
Phenotype expressions can change over a shorter period of time, but the genotype, like actually...
Your genes are the same. Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But your shit will change in your individual body. But man.
So fat people
not
don't
to get
have
Rogan
fat
on
kids.
you, but we still got the same fucking brains and bodies as the hunter-gatherers, dude.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like fat people don't have fat kids.
Fat people don't automatically have fat kids.
Like skinny fat people don't have fat kids. But like big people have big children because of bone structure and things like that.
Yeah, and that fat people have fat kids because they raise them like eating fucking Oreo.
Well, yeah, I'm
fudge
talking about nature.
breakfast.
I'm not talking about nurture. Yeah, because look, I noticed a phenomenon just in my lifetime that Caucasian women all of a sudden have big fat asses that they didn't have when, and I'm talking young women. I'm talking teenage to upper teenage women, little women with butts. And when I was that age, they just didn't have butts like that.
They didn't wear pants that showed it off as much was the thing. It was like low-rise jeans that didn't really show your
fashion,
ass.
I'm sure, but also the diet.
We would fetishize like the butt crack. It would be like the whale tail or whatever.
Yeah, the little thong that looked like come up. Yeah.
But so then rap music, Nicki Minaj makes the butt more popular. Kim Kardashian
did it.
And now women are purposely making their butts big at the gym as part of it, and then they're also showing it off more.
You don't think that the diet, the super processed...
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it too. Like girls go into puberty earlier because they're eating
the most popular food
that has a
in
bunch
our
of hormones
country
in it.
being
So
fried
that's not a
chicken.
genetic change. That's a change within like the diet.
Okay, yeah.
And they're getting a bunch of growth hormones and stuff, just making their asses fat.
Yeah, it's all in the chicken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Chick-fil-A's whole game.
I'm not upset about this. But
I mean,
it was,
I don't
if you
really
remember
feel-
the 90s, the hot women in the 90s were like
Rails.
flat ass and big titties.
Yeah. Huh?
Like Cindy Crawford or whatever.
Yeah, no ass at all. One of my favorite movies of all time is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And he's daydreaming. He's
Never seen
daydreaming
it.
about his swimming pool, and this brunette that he met at the jewelry store is doing this like strip tease at the pool that he doesn't actually have. He's like daydreaming.
Yeah.
And she is beautiful. 5'9", 5'10", long hair, huge rack, like less than an ass. It's like concave.
Negative ass.
Like concave. And she is supposed to be representing the most beautiful.
The absence
woman.
of an ass.
Yeah, Chevy Chase is like, shooting ropes all over the dining room, staring out the window here. And to a woman with no, and it's so disappointing. From my, what I find attractive now, I've been so conditioned to that.
I've always enjoyed ass.
You know who else has a fucking
I remember-
horribly disappointing ass is Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
It is fucking devastatingly not there.
I remember as a young man at nap time at daycare, laying on the ground, and I would look up the teacher's skirt and start seeing her butt, dude. It was great. But, what's going on with Barry? Speaking of butts.
back to Barry.
Speaking of butts, Brian gets his fucking ass whipped because he's annoying Bully while they're trying to study. He's like, Bully, you took my pencil. And then Bully's like, come in. He like puts Brian over his knee and spanks the hell out of him.
Well-
Please put this scene in. It's so funny.
Yeah, well, Brian's doing what was done to him.
What?
He's spanking.
Oh, Bully's spanking. Bully's doing what he's
Bully
yeah.
rather. Sorry, Bully
Bully's
is just.
spanking
That's the way I read that. Was like, all right, he's just emulating. How you get punished. On he's trying to be Big Daddy here.
Yeah.
And
The way he just grabs him and he's like.
But yeah. But while it's going down, you're like,
He's about to get.
Old Big Daddy Barry ain't gonna let this ride, because it's super obvious that Barry is Team Brian.
Yes, of course, dude.
Yeah.
That's his
his
real
boy.
son.
And he's not hiding it. He's not like coy about it. It's like, hey, this is how it is. You are useless to me.
So then Barry canes him again. The first time he canes him when Bully's a little boy, it doesn't look that bad. But this time he's fucking putting some oomph into it.
Yeah.
And Bully starts crying and he goes, "From this moment I will submit to no further chastisement from you."
Yep.
He has such big lips. But yeah, he's basically like, "I'm done. You're not gonna bitch me out anymore, Barry." He fucking hates him so much. And look, I don't know. Bully is, to me, since I vibe with Barry and he's the hero of the movie, to me, Bully is annoying little piece of shit, but he is kind of like in the right. This guy is exploiting his mom,
Yeah.
And he's peeped it from very early on.
But he's super hateable.
Yeah.
There's nothing about him that's attractive.
Incredible casting.
Yeah. He is definitely like a snot-nosed little bitch ass. They even have him like, when one of the introductions to the new actor is they're watching a play or something.
Yeah, and he's laying down, like fondling his mom.
It's like Indian style, head in his mom's lap. He's like 17 years old or something.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like,
He's a
this
mama's
kid-
boy.
Yeah, big time. So he's super hateable. So now
This brings us to my favorite scene in the movie.
The recital?
She's doing the harpsichord recital in front of a bunch of people. Like, all the nobles are there, basically.
Yeah, big deal.
Bully and Brian come in, and Brian's walking extremely loudly because he's wearing Bully's shoes. Which I don't really get the significance of that, but it makes them...
It makes a racket.
Yeah, it's like... And Brian's like...
The look
Brian's
on
like,
Bully's
"I'm wearing
face
Bully's
is great.
shoes." Yeah.
He's so pleased with himself.
So then he like performatively addresses Brian in front of everybody. He gets down on one knee, and Bully goes, "What a pity it is I am not dead for your sake. The Lyndons would then have worthy representative and enjoy all the illustrious benefits of the Barrys of Berryville." Just basically being like, you don't have any, parentage or whatever. If I was dead, you would be the sole heir to my mom or whatever, and you could fucking do your thing. But then Lady Lyndon goes, "You haven't proved worthy of my affection." Basically saying, what a pity it is I don't have a son who's worthy of my affection. She kind of shits on Bully in front of everybody. And then Bully has this sick monologue where he goes, "I have endured the ill treatment of the insolent Irish upstart who you've taken into your bed. It is not only the lowness of his birth and the general brutality of his manners which disgusts me, but his shameful conduct, his open infidelity, his shameless robberies." And he's like, he's a low-bred ruffian, and he's like, "And I will be leaving home." Like, Bully gives this crazy speech. And then Lady Lyndon starts crying and runs out. And Barry's just sitting there watching this, looking mad. And then he goes, "Beast mode."
Yeah. Oh, okay, what's beast mode?
He jumps out of his chair and he starts beating Bully's ass in front of everybody.
Calls that little fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound effects. This would be, you could put the audio in from this. The sound effects of him punching Brian are like,
yeah, they're pretty brutal. Yeah.
It's like he's just like beating the shit out of Bully in front of everybody. And he's like basically trying to kill him, it looks like. He's dragging him around. They keep bumping into the ladies. The ladies are like, "Oh, God," or whatever. Everybody's screaming and making a racket. And
chaos.
It takes like 9 guys to pull Barry off of Bully, basically. Brian thinks it's hilarious. And that's it, basically. We just see Barry afterwards, just like outside of the castle. They do this like long zoom out of his face. And he is reflecting on the fact that he just fucked everything up.
Bully?
Barry.
Oh, yeah, by fucking beating the kid up.
Yeah, you can't beat up your stepson in front of everybody.
Yeah, the wifey's not going to be too pleased with this. And everyone's going to think that you're, well, the dirty Irish trash that you are.
That you actually are. Yeah. His nature, he gets called this inbred ruffian in front of everybody, and then he just like completely demonstrates it.
Yeah.
But
that's fucking wonderful, dude.
It's a great scene. It's just him, his gentleman manners just abandon him all at once, and he's unable to restrain himself from just whooping this child in front of everyone.
Is this where do we get another narrator now? And we sort of get a foreshadow?
I think the narrator basically says that Barry is screwed. And
that he always wanted, but he is destined to, because they fucking give the ending away. There's a narration
it's
that happens that like basically tells you everything's fixing to go to fucking shit.
There's a scene where Barry is at a restaurant and he asks Lord Wendover, the guy that was gonna get him his peerage, to come sit with him. And he's like, "You should come over for cards." And Wendover's like, "Oh, I gotta check my schedule, but I don't think I'll make it there."
So this dude, okay, this is funny to me. He comes in, the host is sitting him, and he's like, "Anybody else today?" And he's like, "Nope, it's just me." And then Barry comes over. He's like, "What's up, dude? Come have a seat." And he's like, "Sorry, man, I got some company coming." And then he's lying because he just told it. And then he just like, "Oh, I don't think I got time in my calendar." Like
And the narrator says something like, "It would have been better if Lord Wendover just pissed in his face," basically.
Basically.
Just in the world that they live in, this is insane disrespect to refuse to come dine with somebody.
Yeah. "You should come over and have dinner. I'm pretty sure I'm busy that day." Didn't say a date.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well,
the brush off is crazy.
I'm busy a lot, so I'm definitely busy whenever you're doing something.
So then the narrator says, "Legend spreads of his cruelty to his stepson, and everybody wants their money all at the same time."
Yeah.
The word gets out that he's screwed, he's kind of persona non grata, and so everybody starts trying to collect their debts at once, and Lady Lyndon does not have the bread. The narrator says, "Barry had always been a good dad to Brian and had high hopes for him, but fate had determined that he should leave none of his race behind him and that he should finish his life poor, lonely, and childless."
How fucking looming is that statement, dude? The vibe of this changes so much. The whole vibe of the movie is just all of a sudden like, I don't know about you, but like my heart sinks when I hear that. I'm like, God damn.
Well, you know that Brian's about to die, and
Well,
Brian's a little cute moppet.
Yeah, exactly. And that this dude's, I mean, basically, like, I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but my worst fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Dying alone, no progeny, no money, no nut, like fucking, you know, that's like the pinnacle of you wasted your fucking goddamn life. And it's like,
He had some good times, but yeah. You know what I'm going to say? If you're a character in a film and your child asks you for a horse, don't fucking do it.
yeah, right.
Gone with the Wind, same shit, dude.
Yeah.
The little girl dies fucking trying to jump a damn horse.
Yeah, and you can tell too because the wife isn't down. So this is becoming all on Barry's shoulders. So you can see it's like, and not to mention, I mean, okay, read that, read into the foreshadow of the narrator, with me or for me. Why the fuck do they give it away like that? What is the
Because I mean the whole title of the second half of the movie is The Misfortunes That Befell Him.
Yeah.
And they don't, it's not like they say he was going to die childless, then they wait a long time to show you. The next scene is them being like, Brian being like, I want to get a horse. And you're like, oh, don't get him that pony. But they do.
I think it's like super, I don't know, interesting way to tell a story, to like tell you what's going to happen and then show it to you. And you're still kind of like heartbroken.
I was really sad. Brian's such a cutie.
Yeah,
but he,
that wasn't an accident. I mean, they fucking make that kid adorable.
So Brian finds out about the horse. The mom makes him promise not to ride it without his dad. Again, more foreshadowing. And Barry's like, don't go to the farm to see the horse before your birthday. But then Barry's getting shaved. Reverend Runt comes in and he's like, Brian's disappeared. And Barry's like, oh, fuck no. And Barry rides over. Brian's being carried in. He's got blood on his head. We see like a slow-mo shot of him being thrown from the horse. I don't know how they got that shot.
Bro, I wrote that in my notebook that I don't have. Like, that's a pretty impressive...
Yeah, because it looks like, it doesn't look like a dummy. It looks like a little kid getting thrown off a fucking horse.
There's some movie magic there.
Yeah.
There must be some pretty ballsy kids.
Stanley Kubrick would kill a child for the art, though.
Well, I guess you put together a shot. There's something on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And the kid falls on that in that shot, and then there's another shot of a kid just like falling onto a ground. You know what I mean? But also, Stanley Kubrick is probably willing to sacrifice a young man for the, it's all about the shot. So,
and this part, people it's sad, but I maintain, I don't know, dude, my reading of the movie, even this is kind of funny because it's so sad and because you're just like, fuck, Barry's life sucks.
Yeah, not only did his only son die, it's like totally his fault.
It's totally his fault, and it's really the worst possible. Brian's like, "Am I going to die?" And Barry has to be like, "No, you're gonna be fine." And Brian goes, "Never quarrel so that we can meet in heaven." And he dies. They have this funeral for him, tiny casket. Reverend Runt gives this great speech. We brought nothing into this world, and we can take nothing out. And Barry starts hitting the bottle, dude.
Yeah, hard. Yeah, I'm with it.
You would too.
I'm with it.
This reminds me so much of Gone with the Wind, because Gone with the Wind also their daughter gets. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, I saw
another. That's like a 4-hour film.
I saw that at Tampa Theater actually.
I went to see it when it got re-released. It's so tight. I know that there's some problematic racial elements to it, but
whatever. When Tampa Theater shows it, they also roll the pre-movie news clips that were rolled when the original viewing of the film. So there's like
shit about World War II, huh?
Is it?
So it was 1935, I believe.
Yeah, and it was I can't really remember what it was, but it's like they do a whole thing where someone comes out and they're like, we're also going to roll a movie reel, and this is from the week of the release of the film. So it puts you in the whole.
That's sick.
Yeah, man.
What's this
me and my
theater?
grandmother. The Tampa Theater downtown.
I need to check that shit.
You never go to Tampa Theater?
I go to AMC all the time.
Bro, you've never been to the Tampa Theater?
No, calm down. Jeez.
Well, you're the fucking cinephile or whatever. This is Tampa Theater is bad as fuck. First of all,
Is it just one screen?
yeah, but it's
That's tight. I used to go to the
And it's
Britannia
small.
in New Orleans, which was like that.
yeah, and it's small. It's a stage. There's all this scenery behind it. There's like balconies and shit, and it's like it's all preserved.
Sounds baller.
And they show like recent stuff, and then they do. That was fucking loud. That was good.
Yikes, dude.
There's a really good burp in that movie, Real Pain, at the dinner table.
Yeah.
That was fucking.
I love it when he makes his fork fly off. Also.
Yeah, and then he burps. Yeah, he burps. He makes the thing. Don't worry, I'll get that.
He's just turning up. Oh, they're playing Black Bag. Maybe I'll go watch Black Bag there.
Yeah, Tampa Theater is the shit. That's where I saw fucking Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers documentary, the HBO. Well, it ended up being HBO or whatever, but like right when I first got sober, you know, I was hanging out with my uncle and we went and saw that movie, and I fucking owe that experience, you know, a lot of my sobriety, or at least like the direction my sobriety went, to that experience, because it was the first time I remember so vividly, man, watching Mr. Rogers say, love is at the center of everything in life, love or the lack of it. And it was and I had been doing like step work and shit, and like learning about fucking, you know, service in AA. And I tried to get sober a million times, and I had never connected my real world, like my normal day-to-day life, with like the AA stuff. It always existed like separately. Like AA was something that you did in the meetings, or that you did in someone's fucking, you know, stupid car, reading out of this gay book. And then like I was watching this movie, it was like love and service is like, and I idolized Mr. Rogers, and then I fucking saw like this connection, and it like made me go like hard as fuck in the paint for AA. Completely changed the direction of my life, dude. Completely.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah. Big deal.
It is true, man. Love is some serious shit.
Love, or the lack of it, too, is a really important part of that comment. Is like, you know, your life can be wonderful or fucking horribly painful. Like the lack of love that you choose to participate in, to make available to others, will determine, man, like the fucking state of your life, you know? And
yeah, being a drug addict, or being like somebody who's obsessed with money or all this shit, that all comes from like a lack of love for yourself, and lack 100%. Of connection to others. And many of the evils perpetuated on this world are, you know, at the center of that is one or a couple of people who have a distinct lack of love.
Which why?
Like Adolf Hitler. But one could also argue that he did that because of his love for his race, you know?
Yeah, well, I guess you kind of have to, you know, pay attention to like the fallout of a specific kind of love. And I mean, the definition of love has to be objective too. So like, you can't love one race so much that it fucking annihilates another. That's not real love. That's something else.
Real love.
Yeah. But you know, this is why, for anybody wondering why the name of this podcast is Neighbors.
I thought it was neighbornography.
Well, yeah, so that was a funny idea. I
like that. Barry gets drunk and has to be carried to bed. This would be sick, to have a servant that can like take you to the bed after you get too hammered.
I started to think about this during the movie, though. How long is this guy going to be around, this servant?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. They're broke, but they still have all these servants, which is kind of how old money works, dude. Like, you can they're probably bankrupt on paper, but they're just they still got people around.
It's this weird thing. Check this out. So this organism has been built. These servants have no fucking where else to go. They probably live there. They don't have like homes to go back to. Why the fuck are they servants? So the hierarchy, right? Is creating itself.
Yeah.
And it has to continue to exist in this format. Alfred is no one without Batman.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's so even if you get it. All right, so yeah, the guy can't stop fucking chugging whiskey, can't walk around. He's fucked.
He's getting slammed, dude.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Lady Lyndon is just getting more into religion. The narrator says, you would have imagined she was distracted at times, which using distracted to mean crazy, I want to bring that back. Like, this bitch is distracted.
Yeah. It's good.
But all the responsibilities fall to Barry's Irish-ass mom. She fires Reverend Runt, tells him, we don't need a tutor anymore and we can't spend the money. And he goes, well, I can't, I'll go without my wages. I don't want to leave her ladyship. And Mama Barry is basically like, you're responsible for the state she's in. You got her all on this God trip. And then Reverend Runt finally lets it fucking sing on her. He's like, you and your son have almost destroyed a fine family fortune. Y'all are some Irish trash. You're fucking shit up. Reverend Runt, I love it. More great casting because he's just this very severe looking guy. But he holds his tongue through all of this.
And then
he's
lets
kind
it
of
run
insinuating things. And he's just like, Mama Barry, fuck you. I don't want to get fired.
Mama Barry.
And we see Lady Lyndon screaming and thrashing around. The narrator says that she tried to kill herself with poison, but failed due to the small amount. Classic, women attempt suicide more, men complete it more. They never, it's always for attention. Not always, I shouldn't say that, but ladies
bold.
love to be like, I tried to kill myself. And they took like 5 Tylenol and drank some fucking Zima.
I started thinking about what the Marilyn Monroe scene must have looked like. You know, the last
staged by CMG and Kana. And RFK, RFK Senior. He was smashing.
Well, yeah.
Marilyn Monroe
so
did the
Jay.
whole team.
Yeah,
dude.
DiMaggio.
Yeah.
The whole,
She was murdered.
You think so?
The pills in her stomach that supposedly killed her had not digested when they did the autopsy on her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that she was injected with drugs to kill her, and then
they threw some pills in her mouth.
Made her swallow a bunch of pills. Yeah.
Damn.
It's pretty fucked up.
You got the official report. Yeah.
But it's after the suicide attempt, Lord Bully, we don't really know where he's been, but he comes back. He meets with Reverend Runt, and he's like, basically, my life is fucked up now. My friends profess sympathy, but behind my back, I know I am despised. Everybody kind of looks down on Bully for allowing this to happen to his moms.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I know what I gotta do. And he shows up at the estate. He's looking trepidatious, dude. He's like, oh, shit. Kind of a callback to the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what type of time he's on. He wants to duel.
Yeah.
He pulls up. There's this great shot of Barry just like drunk as fuck. And all these,
but Barry's on serious. Or Bully's on serious. He's like, we're gonna have a talk, sir.
Yeah, he lifts Barry's chin up with his cane to wake him up, which is pretty disrespectful.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Barry's passed out. There's all these other like revelers around. There's fucking bottles everywhere. They're fucking loaded. And so they go to do this duel. Barry's clearly drunk during the duel also, but they toss this coin to determine who has the first fire, which they didn't do that earlier in the movie. I'm not sure how that works, but Bully gets the first shot. I thought they were both supposed to shoot at the same time, but I guess this is like different duel rules.
Yeah, I feel like the rules have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in this round, whoever calls does the calling out. Or did they flip a coin?
They flip a coin.
So
whoever gets heads or whatever, whoever calls the toss gets to shoot first.
Horrible.
Yeah, I know. And they're like fucking 12 feet away from each other. So
but the whole time, Barry's just like, whatever.
Barry's basically ready to die.
Yeah, he's pretty much over being alive and stuff. It's not really going his way. He's down to one leg, right?
Yeah. Well, no. He's still. This is what happens.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think Barry wants to die, but he's out of it. So then, Bully cocks the pistol. It's his turn to shoot. He goes first. He cocks the pistol with his finger on the trigger. It's like he's never used a gun before, and he's like having trouble cocking, and so he like grabs it like this. It's like it just goes off, and he's like, I don't know what happened. Can I have another one? And they're like, the guy's like, no, you have to stand your ground.
The fucking shock and sadness in this kid. Great actor, dude.
He's like, oh,
you are
shit,
feeling this guy's pain, bro. He's just like, what the fuck, dude? I'm a horrible fucking nobody.
I suck at dueling.
I suck at aliving.
And he pukes.
Yeah. throws up.
So
dude.
dishonorable.
Yeah.
This is not gentlemanly. He's just like, and
We're back to
it's Barry's turn.
these people, though. These people with their fronts, their super foppy fucking ways, and they're just empty.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
And
they got in them is puke.
Barry's turn now, and Barry's like, you know what, dude? I wouldn't even enjoy shooting you.
I think Barry's basically like, I just want this to be over.
Yeah.
So he shoots into the ground. It would seem to me that he's expecting Bully to then be like, all right, it's dead. Because at any point during a duel, you can say, I'm satisfied. We've received satisfaction. So then the people moderating it are like, Bully, have you received satisfaction? And Bully's like, nah.
Hell nah. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, dude.
And Barry was not expecting that. Barry's like, huh?
What?
And he straight blasts Barry. And he looks pretty exhilarated. He's like, yes,
Hell
dude.
yeah. Gets him in the leg. Gets
Yeah.
him in the leg up.
There's a pretty graphic scene of him with the bullet in his leg. It's pretty bloody.
Yeah, it's probably the most bloody scene in the film.
And the surgeon says,
All right.
you're going to have to lose your leg below the knee. Yeah, you were saying earlier, there's not much graphic violence, but this is like injuries to Barry himself we see because he's the center of the movie.
Yeah.
And the surgeon's like, you're going to have to lose your leg below the knee. Bully's got his plan in action. He tells the family lawyer, get Miss Barry out of the house and send her to London. And we see her playing cards with Barry. He's now missing his leg, and the lawyer pulls up. He gives Bully the offer. He gives Barry the offer. He says, we're going to give you 500 guineas a year for life if you leave England. And if you stay, you're going to go to jail because you owe so much money to everybody. And Barry is baffled and beaten. He returns to Ireland. And then he kind of goes to the continent, it says, and resumes his profession of gambler without his former success. So he's got only 500 guineas a year, which is not much. And he's going and gambling and basically like being broke. But
And the final shot of Barry Lyndon is he's loading into a carriage and the frame freezes.
yep.
And it's fucking pretty epic, dude.
After we see Lady Lyndon.
Gotta love a frozen framed finish. I just love the way that kind of just like, and it comes out of nowhere. It's not a very special scene. He's loading. It's literally just like, all right, this dude's story's over, and then you get a little narration.
You get the epilogue, but we see
Well,
we see Lady Lyndon, who looks a little bit healthier now that this fucking Irish leech is gone, but she's signing all these checks, and we see her get to his annuity, like the money that they sent him every year, and she has like a little look on her face of like, I kind of miss that dick, and then she signs the annuity,
Yeah.
and then we get the
for it.
epilogue, which I would get this fucking tattooed on my chest, bro. Epilogue. It was in the reign of George III that the aforesaid personages lived and quarreled. Good or bad, handsome or ugly, rich or poor, they are all equal now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fire. Kind
That
of
is
the
pretty
message
good.
of the movie, as I said, and think on our first half of this, is like, money dictates so much in life, but like the people involved are all scummy. Even if you're wealthy, like you're all kind of like equal on some level. Especially when you frickin' die and you're in the dirt.
Everybody ends up in the same fucking place.
Yeah.
So where does this fall in Kubrick's work?
I can tell you.
No, in your opinion.
I mean, the man is he's got many bangers. It's one of my favorite movies ever, so it might be toward the top of.
How hard is it though to pit his work against each other because they're so different?
Yeah.
You know?
I like it better than Doctor Strangelove.
That's gay.
I like it maybe a little bit less than The Clockwork Orange.
No.
I like it maybe equally with Eyes Wide Shut. I love Eyes Wide Shut, but it's kind of they're similar movies. Eyes Wide Shut is also very funny to me. It's just this bumbling idiot like
I gotta
getting
do
into
Eyes Wide Shut again.
Eyes Wide Shut is kind of similar because it's like this guy being like, I'm gonna infiltrate high society, and it's like, no, you suck.
Yeah, well, I kind of need to watch it again too because for some reason everyone is ignoring how disgusting Nicole Kidman looks now. And
Bro.
I remember Days of Thunder. I remember Eyes Wide Shut. I remember this beautiful Aussie,
She
to
looks
die
hot
for.
in Baby Girl. I had a sex dream about her after I saw Baby Girl.
Okay, no,
she squirts, dude.
See, I don't think she looks good, dude.
She's getting
and
fingered.
then she's in this.
Oh, crikey!
She looks like someone melted a fucking Barbie doll, dude. It's crazy.
She's had some surge. She's been surged up.
And well, it's not just melted a Barbie doll, but then tried to like cover the fact that it got melted by like pushing it down. There's a movie, I can't remember the name of it. Zac Efron and her. It was a Netflix thing. It's recent, last couple years.
I don't know anything about this.
She looks fucking horrendous. And then I was like,
A family affair?
yeah. And then I see her in fucking these award shows, you know. And like, you know, I will say in Northman, especially with her character, you know, I thought I got a little tickles, you know, there. But it was also like in a weird kind of old Viking way, you know. She was
There's
also
the incest
still
vibe too of her trying to bang her son.
Yeah, and that was pretty hot, you know. But she does not look good anymore. I'm sorry, and so I want to watch, you know, because as a young man, fuck, dude, I don't know how you're gonna watch Eyes Wide Shut and not end up with some nocturnal emissions. That's some pretty hot shit.
Yeah,
basically.
I think she looks fine. I don't know.
Today, Baby Girl, I didn't watch Baby Girl, so maybe I should.
Baby Girl was great.
When was Baby Girl? Was that last year?
It was Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, that was the tagline. Was this Christmas get exactly what you want?
Really?
Yeah, that movie is all about. She's like a high-powered CEO, and she gets in this crazy BDSM relationship with this young, hot stud who's like an intern at her company. So it's kind of like a reverse Me Too. Harris Dickinson.
Oh.
Great actor.
Good name.
Yeah, but there's like. Yeah, he makes her squirt. He makes her like eat dog treats out of his hand and stuff. He makes her drink milk.
Okay.
He like sends her a glass of milk at a work function, and she stares at him and chugs the milk.
I watch all my movies with my wife. I don't think I would enjoy watching that with my wife. I think it would be very weird.
You think that she would be getting horny for the young stud?
Well, I don't know.
She finds his tie on the dance floor after he dances, and she stuffs his tie in her mouth. She's freaky as hell.
My wife we're prudes, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We're very prudish people, man. And, you know, I know we're like tattooed and all this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a fucking ex-drug addict and shit. But when it comes to like that crazy sex stuff, I don't know. I just don't have
That's what's up. I'm seeking a wholesome woman to have a relationship with.
Yeah, Teresa. I mean, maybe some of our behaviors weren't so wholesome in the past, but today.
Of course.
You know, and it just, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, being a parent and kind of like living in that sort of, you know, universe where everything is
wholesome.
Yeah, you know, G-rated and all these things. All except for our language.
Yeah, you guys cuss around the kids a lot.
You have no fucking idea. Anything you've seen is very little compared to what it's like. Well, here's the thing about children is, well, boys especially, in my experience, is before they learn how to use their words, they just scream when they want stuff, and it is maddening.
It is.
And sometimes you just have to say
that
fuck
with my baby
loud.
godson.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to say the word fuck out loud, very loud, to not physically abuse someone. Frankly, if you want to avoid that, you just have to.
Which is never excusable.
No, yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine being physical with the kids, but I mean, that's bullshit. I can totally imagine it. I can totally
imagine it all the time.
Yeah, drop kicking them halfway across the room. Especially my boys are tough, you know, and like they hurt the fuck out of each other.
Up, yeah.
But not with Riley, you know. But and it's just watching your language is a really kind of fucking weird thing that we're working on. I wonder how other people deal with it.
How would I rank this? I'm just gonna spitball, do my Kubrick ranking, looking at his movies. To be honest, which sucks, I have not seen some of these.
Where we start? Spartacus, right?
Nope, you're way off. He made Fear and Desire, Killer's Kiss, The Killing, Passive Glory, and then Spartacus. I've seen none of those. The first one I saw was Spartacus. So I'm gonna go motherfucking Clockwork Orange, The Shining, 2001, Barry Lyndon, Lolita. Fuck, I skipped Full Metal Jacket. Full Metal Jacket's probably number 3 in there. I don't know. It's very difficult. They're so different.
They are very different.
All so good. Dude.
It's a very hard question. It's like
Kubrick
almost
gets me bricked up.
It's almost like people ask you what your favorite movie is. It's like, fuck you. You know, favorite. Even I can't even give you a favorite fucking director, bro. You know what I mean?
I can tell you who my favorite one is working right now.
Yeah, well, there's always the categories. Who would yours be right now? I don't
Ari
really,
Aster, we've already talked about this.
I don't know about a lot of the directors right now. I would have to think about that. Like for
There's some
Alejandro,
directors that have never made bad movies.
Alejandro Iñárritu
Iñárritu.
was my favorite for a while. And Birdman and The Revenant. And did you see Barcelona?
No.
Oh man, that movie's fucking heavy, bro.
Do we want to keep going on the air, or should we wrap it up? Any final thoughts on Mr. Barry Lyndon?
I think I was super glad that you picked it because I don't think I would have watched it without being prompted to, and I enjoyed the fucking shit out of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. That's what I have to say at the end.
I find
About
it to
Barry
be just a compelling portrayal of an Irishman trying to be normal, trying to be a European. Because we are not European. We are island savages.
Yeah.
And we love it.
It is. So your comment on it, made me think more about who I am, and I'm very Barry Lyndon too. I fell in love with every fucking girl that was willing to look at me when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I would fight people over shit that nobody cared about. I was my honor and my passion is everything I've ever had. It's very Irish of me, and also, hood rich at any opportunity that I've been given throughout my life. I'm
Spend it.
So, dude, yeah, I blew through a 6-figure inheritance in fucking 9 months, dude.
That's
in my 20s, But also,
What'd you spend it on,
even today,
mostly?
Buying other people alcohol. Yeah, and probably the majority of that, and then traveling. I went to Europe.
Yeah.
Bought a bunch of overpriced fucking cocaine in Spain and shit. But yeah, basically trying to buy like the party. I definitely spent the majority of the money on trying to look like I had money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also, I really love the idea of it being a commentary on fop culture.
Sure.
Like, it is just a commentary on how fucking cheesy and corny and empty those people were.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies that portray similar people as like being like very dignified men of grace and culture and gentlemanly and all this shit. And I think his point is like, no, they're horny, drunk, gambling.
Yeah.
People too, basically.
Yeah.
Well, it's satire, bro, which if you
For
think
sure.
about it is really where Kubrick shines. It's, Clockwork Orange is satire on violent young culture and on its satire on so-called rehabilitation, right? Dr. Strangelove, my personal favorite of his, is satire on the government. And then there's satire on war. There's just they really, if there is a common theme in Kubrick's work, it's satire. So
He made this movie. He wanted to make a movie about Napoleon, and then somebody dropped one. Dino De Laurentiis dropped a movie, and it did really bad. Waterloo was a failure.
okay.
So then he did Clockwork Orange, and then he read Barry Lyndon, and he got geeked up about that and wanted to do it.
Cause
And it is like Waterloo, if you've seen that, is very like great men of history, blah, blah, blah. But you know what the Napoleon movie that Ridley Scott did is kind of Barry Lyndon-ish because he portrays Napoleon as he's this military genius, but...
Jacqueline, right?
Yeah, with Joaquin.
Drag queen.
But he's also...
Drag queen
he's
Phoenix?
kind of a horny coward.
Yeah.
He's constantly trying to get pussy from his wife. At one point, he begs her to fuck him, and he goes...
I didn't watch it.
Dude, it's awesome. It's all either battle scenes or it's him just being a crazy weirdo.
Just being thirsty.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's like in the court in France or whatever, and they're like, "We're gonna put you in jail," and he's just like, "Ah!" And he just like runs away, and they're like beating him up and shit. He's really like childish.
That's funny, dude.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's a great. It's about the emptiness of foppery. Fop fails.
I wonder if they knew of the term fop.
At the time, I think so.
I thought you made
We
it
need
up.
to bring it back. No, I didn't make him fops, dude.
Ah.
It's a man excessively concerned with his appearance. Basically, kind of another F word.
On that note, we'll see you next week. We got
What are you guys going to talk about next week?
Young Victor
Victor.
is coming on to talk about The Sound of Metal, which I need to watch.
we're gonna do a neighbornography.
Is that what we're calling the movie ones?
I think so.
Okay. I would love to have people on to just talk about specific subjects. Let's call this one out.
Call it. Laters.
Peace.
I'm loose.